Welcome to the Montana Family Matters podcast. This is a special edition podcast. We are raising the walls, aiming to raise $10,000 for our new Montana Center for Christian Policy. If you are just joining us this morning, thank you so much. We're very grateful to have listeners all across the state of Montana. This is our second day of this campaign. Yesterday, we were very blessed to raise almost $2,000 of small dollar donations. Remember, everything during these 2 days, so today's the last day, everything will be matched by a generous donor. That's going to double your impact. So $10 may not seem like a lot, but hey, it turns into $20. All of this stuff's going to be compiled, added up to make a big difference. We were not done fundraising at the end of our discussion yesterday. We ran until noon. We ended the conversation hearing from our clerk of the Supreme Court, Bowen Greenwood. That was really great. And we are very excited today because last night money was still coming in. People were still thinking about and praying about if this was something that they were able to put into their budget, something that they were able to contribute for and sacrifice for. And we're very excited to announce a range of individuals who donated last night. I'd like to just honor them by mentioning their names. We had $50 come in from Nicole in Billings. We had $25 come in from Clarissa from Billings. We had $50 come in from Camila and Bozeman. We had another Jane give $1,000 here in Helena. We had another individual, Holly, give $500. And then we had one other individual, Lynn from Darby, give $25. So I'm going to pull out our very fancy fundraising thermometer here. You guys get to see this right here. This is a beautiful creation from our own Evangeline, who you guys got to see a little bit yesterday. She's working behind the scenes to make this all possible. And we're going to raise this puppy up to $3,525. So that's going to go all the way. Oh, let's see. Don't want to break it. It's a little finicky. There we go. 3,525. We're just right. Oh. Now is the time to give. So if you have been deciding, hey, I like the work that the Montana Family Foundation is doing, but finances are tough. I don't have a lot that I can give throughout the year. This is a good time because we are right now under construction in the Montana Center for Christian Policy. This is just 3 blocks from the state capitol. The top floor will be the new home of the Montana Family Foundation offices, moving over from Laurel. And then our second floor is going to be Christian attorneys and lawyers who are supporting our work at the courts and at the state legislature. And then, again, I always mention this is my favorite component. The bottom floor is going to be for Christian nonprofits, many of which we'll be collaborating with in the policy arena, but a lot of them are just going to be engaging with our communities across the state of Montana. Because again, this is a building for the whole state of Montana, not just Helena. The impacts are going to be wide reaching. So if you have been wondering, when should I get involved? Now is the time. You can donate by giving to a phone number. You can call this phone number. This is our Laurel office, 406-628-1141. Debbie is going to be there waiting for your phone calls. Feel free to give her a call first thing this morning and make your donation there. That will be to our C3, the Montana Family Institute. So that's going to be a tax-deductible donation. You can also give by going online to montanafamily.org. You're going to go up into the middle kind of top menu, and you're going to look for building project. You're going to click on building project, and that'll take you to information about where you can give. So please, now is the time. Help us get to that $10,000 that we're aiming for by the end of the day. And again, after we're finished up with this podcast at noon today, we're going to keep making phone calls. We're going to keep doing everything that we can to spread the news about the amazing opportunity of this building. But again, we can't do it without you. We need your partnership. We need your support. So please, we would be grateful for your prayerful consideration. Please talk that over with your family. Decide if that's going to work out for your guys' finances and your budget. And we are so grateful for you considering. Today, again, we have an awesome lineup of guests that are going to be joining us. I think we have a few more that are going to be in studio with us, which is very exciting. We had a lot of folks calling in from Orlando at the ALEC conference yesterday. So that's pretty cool to see our legislators out and about honing their skills for the upcoming session. But it's also fun to see people right here in our studio. And so we're very excited to be featuring some of those individuals. The first individual, before I introduce him, he is a kind of a longer time friend of mine, and we are really excited for his new position. But I want to first share a video that we have ready to go so that you guys can see a little bit about this LifeWise Academy project that's going on. And this is not just in Helena, this is across the state of Montana. This is a national program. This became possible because we were able to work with other allies such as Alliance Defending Freedom and other supporters to be able to make sure that religious release time instruction in Montana is decided by the parents, not decided by the school districts anymore. So if a parent decides that this is what they want their child to be released for, up to an hour a week, boom, we have now changed a may in the law into shall. And so now it is up to parents to decide what is best for their kids, and if they want to get them out so that they can get a gospel education during the school day, that's what they're going to get. So we're very excited. I will announce our guest immediately after this video, but take a look at this video and learn a little bit more about this program before we get into the interview.
Today we're going to show you something wild. These kids are literally leaving school to learn about the Bible, and it's totally legal. How? Let's go find out.
This is LifeWise Academy. It's a program that teaches Bible-based character education to public school students during school hours. Not before school and not after, but during school hours.
So here's how this works. The students will leave this school building, hop on this bus, take a short ride across the street to the church. I can see the steeple from here, have Bible class, hop back on the bus, head back to school. It's that simple. But is this really legal?
Yes, it's 100% legal in all 50 states, thanks to something called Released Time Religious Instruction. According to the Supreme Court, there are just 3 rules. It must take place off school property, be privately funded, and parents need to opt their children in to attend.
That means parents say yes to their kids leaving school, typically once a week, to walk, bus, or ride to a nearby location for Bible class. Are you guys excited? Yeah! These classes are seamlessly worked into the school schedule. Here in Bryan, they leave during study hall or recess, but in other places they often leave during library or lunch or as part of the specials rotation. LifeWise never takes the place of core classes, which is not to say that the Bible's not a big deal. I mean, it's a big deal. It's a big deal!
LifeWise classes are commonly held in a local church less than a mile away, but many programs use a community center, a renovated house or building, and some even build their own building. And these classes, they're fun, engaging, and totally focused on helping kids grow in wisdom and character, as well as, most importantly, learning the gospel of Jesus. The LifeWise curriculum covers the entire Bible from Genesis through Revelation over the course of 5 years. They'll learn character traits like love, bravery, compassion, generosity, respect. And regardless of church background, all students have the opportunity to opt in. Plus, it's free to participating families.
Looks like they've just finished up, and now they'll head back to school.
Here in Bryan, the program runs 5 days per week, grades K through 6th, with a total of 525 students learning the Bible every week. That's 65% of the local elementary and middle school students.
My 2nd grade son is currently in LifeWise. Just the fact that he's so engaged in what he's learning has been life-changing.
Independent research has shown that schools with LifeWise see notable improvements in attendance, behavior, and even academic performance. And here's the crazy part. LifeWise programs are spreading fast, from 1 school in 2019 to over 1,000 nationwide. Every program begins with the community collecting just 50 signatures to show interest. And then they're off to the races with our proven 10-step launch process.
So what will LifeWise look like in your community?
Go to lifewise.org to find your school.
Man, how can you not love that video? I mean, seeing those kids get so excited about that, I just love it. All their videos are awesome. We are very excited to be able to partner with LifeWise Academy at the Montana Family Institute. This is our C3 that is engaging and assisting where we're able to with LifeWise, because listen, like, we believe that Jesus Christ is the one who is going to change lives. He changed my life. He changed so many people's lives that work for our organization, probably everyone, and so many of you listeners right now. And so if we can get him to the schools and to the kids, that's going to make the biggest difference of all. So I am very excited today to welcome a special guest. This is the program director for Helena, Montana, James Foley.
Thanks,
Welcome,
Patrick.
James.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you for
Really
coming on
appreciate
today.
it. Yeah,
You look
I'm
very
excited.
nice today.
Oh, thank you. I dressed up just for you.
Ah, excellent. Well, it works. It looks good on the camera. So, James, you have been program director for how long now?
Ooh, 4 months now, I think.
4 months already.
I know. It's
All
gone
right.
by quick.
Yeah. So, why did you decide that you wanted to be involved with LifeWise?
Well, what you had said, Jesus changed my life. I grew up in public school system throughout my life. I was Eastgate Elementary, East Helena kid, and then went to middle school in Montana City, and then I graduated Helena High. So, public schools has been a part of my story. And with that, though, there came a lot of challenges and obstacles to overcome, and that, addiction and, depression, anxiety, I faced all that throughout my life. And, Jesus turned it completely around, when I completely surrendered to him. He made things new. So it's been near and dear to my heart. And it just came up on a job posting one day on Indeed and said, "Do you love Jesus? Do you love kids?" And I was like, "Yup,
Yeah.
I do." So ever since then, and then that night, I think it was, we had met that night for a group, and I asked you about it. Like, "Oh yeah, let me tell you about LifeWise." So it's
Yeah.
just like God had kind of put all the pieces in place since then. It was, yeah. So
Yeah, so it was pretty fun. Just to let our listeners know, I serve on the East Helena committee board, I guess, and I had been involved with the steering committee because we got to, had the blessing of working on it through the legislature. I've told the story to some of our guests. It seemed like it was just one of 53 pieces of legislation that we worked on, but then it just kept coming across my computer. Hey, LifeWise is doing stuff in Montana. Can you help get signatures and stuff? And it was like the Holy Spirit just kept opening up all these doors and was like, work on this project. Like it felt like the Holy Spirit and God were like, okay, you guys helped with this. Let's help put it into action.
yeah, go.
Which was very interesting because I've worked on a lot of legislation, but I haven't worked a lot on implementation of the legislation. And so that was an interesting component. But then, your application came across and I got to be a vote amongst our steering committee to bring you on, and you were the guy for the job, and you've been doing awesome since then.
Well, it's all him, honestly. It's
praise
all him.
Jesus.
Yeah, praise him. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun, honestly. Just having conversation after conversation and just getting the word out. And like I said, it's near and dear to my heart.
Yeah.
He pulled me out of so much, and these kids need hope right now more than
Mm.
anything. And so, that's just kind of where the heart is
Let-
behind it. and
Let's talk about that a little bit,
Yeah.
about what these kids need, because we've had some guests on recently to the podcast who we've been talking about housing problems and how that impacts young people and stuff, and just a lot of challenges that the younger generations are facing. They don't get a lot of airtime, on a lot of the podcasts and things like that, or their concerns or problems.
Yeah.
But how do you think LifeWise is going to, and I know it's Jesus is going to, but how do you think this program is going to help these kids? Like, what do they need right now? What are they struggling with?
Yeah, I think it's like I said, it comes down to hope, purpose, and meaning in someone's life, especially as a young kid, is so important. And with phones and devices and all the different temptations, distractions that we have in our world today, It's so hard to find that. And so foundationally speaking, we know that the cornerstone is Jesus Christ. And without that, our life just fades. It really, there's nothing that tethers it. And, addiction and depression, anxieties are so easy to come by because you don't have that rock.
Yeah.
So that's the main thing, is just giving them that hope that there is something outside of this life, the money and the career and all that stuff, it fades after a while. So to have that foundation set on Jesus is by far the most important component of this.
Yeah, it seems like at its core, the world is telling them, you're not working hard enough, you're not doing enough, and it almost feels impossible now because there's just the level that is needed to be able to survive now in our world is just so high. But then you have Jesus that says, rest, son, I took care of it all. And I'm going to take care of you. Just put your faith and trust in me and it'll be all right. And that is just such a different message than what the world preaches.
Completely. And I think especially for, young girls and stuff like that. I mean, the latest stats, there was a behavioral report analysis. We can maybe share this with your listeners sometime, but it just came out last month and it was for 2025. The numbers have been improving, but they're still very high. I mean, Montana specifically is like 29% suicidal ideation rate. And that's one of the highest states in the country, if not the highest. And so, I mean, for girls, for instance, I mean, the comparison, on social media all the time, and it can just get, I dealt with that myself, growing up, and that was before phones and everything else. So now it's just like ramped up to a level that we've never seen before. And, it's just, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. I mean, so I have kids that are in the public district, and so they're, I'm very much hoping that they'll get to be a part of a LifeWise program before they get too old,
they'll be there.
Yeah. And, one of the problems that they face, and I know that Montana is facing this as a problem, because I think there was a letter that had been drafted and signed by teachers. I can't remember if it was the union that was pushing it out, but it was a coalition of teachers and superintendents across the state of Montana that were basically kind of petitioning the Secretary of State and the state legislators that we're underwater here. And they were largely asking for funds because they got teachers who are leaving because the jobs are incredibly difficult.
Yep.
And a big component of that is behavioral issues in the kids. So many teachers, they just don't have the ability to get the kids to listen to them.
Yeah.
And of course, that's originating at home.
Yeah.
And, what can the teachers do, to help at home? Not really much at all.
Yeah.
But how do you think LifeWise is going to help with kind of behavioral issues?
Yeah, I mean, that's our number one thing is we want to help support the schools. We're not coming in there and shoving the Bible down your throats or anything like that. Like, we literally want to come be a program where we come help support the administrators and principals and teachers, because schools were never meant to carry it alone. Yeah. And I think that's like the main mission of LifeWise, is to come support that. And, what we've seen over the last 8 years, because it's in over 1,000 schools across the country since 2018, and, God is just doing amazing things, is that the stats are out now, and that like 30% of academics have improved over the year. The attendance has gone way up. Behavioral issues, another thing, that's huge. And all those numbers are just really, bearing truth that this works, the gospel works.
Yeah. Yeah. And as I understand it, survey from public school teachers overwhelmingly support it.
64%, I believe, said that, we support this. And we've seen a better increase in behavioral issue, like behaviors has gone better, basically.
Yeah. Decrease in school and out of school suspension rates. And it shouldn't be like a mystery to us who have a relationship with Christ, because he did stuff similar to me. I mean, like, I'm a different person than I used to be. He changed me, and I know he changed you according to your testimony, and so many of us who are listening. So what an exciting program. This is not just going on in Helena and East Helena. This is a statewide effort. I've actually been in conversation with Buddy. He is kind of the regional coordinator. Some of you may have met him when he did kind of a tour around the state. I know he stopped in Billings and a couple other locations. And as I understand it, he is going to be coming to Montana here again in August. And I just want to make sure I get some of these locations that he's looking at going to, so that if people are in those areas, they can maybe reach out to us and let us know that you would like to attend a meeting, because his goal is to try to get some of these programs launched across the state. It looks like he's planning to be in Stevensville on the 11th. So this is August 11th. He's looking at making stops in Whitefish, Hamilton, Libby, Bighorn. So if you are in those locations, please drop a comment and say, hey, I'm interested in the Bighorn stop for LifeWise or whatever it is, because it starts out by needing 50 signatures from people in the community who say, hey, we're interested in starting a program. That doesn't mean that they're interested in necessarily donating or being a board member or anything, but they're like, hey, we're supportive. And then from there, they have coaches that are very experienced in handling and navigating the logistical challenges to be able to get local people who are invested in part of their communities to get plugged in and get a program launched.
Yeah. It's a super simple step-by-step process that LifeWise has laid out. Basically, I mean, LifeWise is a plug-and-play model. It's been implemented in over 1,000 schools, like I said, in over 37 states at this point. So they have the model. They're like, hey, we have the blueprint. Now just implement it.
Yeah.
So that's been really cool. I mean, we've been at the fair this week. I had a table set out there at Big Sky Fellowship, and the conversations that we're having is just absolutely amazing. The Holy Spirit's just moving on so many hearts. We had a lady come up to the table yesterday from Drummond, actually.
Okay.
And she was like, I want to get a program going in Drummond. Like, how do I get this going?
All
I had a lady reach out to me from Deer Lodge a couple months back, just randomly sent me an email saying, how do I get this going in Deer Lodge? We have a Montana City program director. We're at 30 signatures as of this last night, I believe.
Okay.
So when you get 20 more to get the Montana City going, Clancy as well, and we're working with Boulder right now as well, a program director out there. I think they had one at one point, but now we're
It is so
repeating
funny
that.
to me because as a Helena program director, you're still finding yourself in situations where the Holy Spirit is like, you're going to advocate for this statewide and not just work on your own program.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's just like, I think that the more people we have that are buy into the vision, the more it comes off. So it's like, I truly don't believe it's not just a Helena thing. It's not just an East Helena thing. It is a statewide effort, and I truly believe that Helena has that opportunity to be that shining city on a hill. Which, by the way, Helena does mean shining light. So,
Oh, really?
yeah,
I didn't
that's
even know
the
that.
actual meaning of the name. If you look it up on Google, it says, "What is the meaning of Helena?" It means shining light.
All right.
So
Very interesting. Yeah. And we are supposed to let our light shine,
that's right.
not put it under a bowl. I'm going to try and show this QR code. We didn't have this prepared, so you guys aren't going to have a graphic, but I'm going to try to put up a QR code here on the camera, and I'm going to hold it here for a few seconds. The idea is that if you take out your phone, obviously, if you're listening on your phone, maybe snapshot this, and then you can figure out a different way to scan it. There's also going to be a website list there, or a link, I'm sorry, that's going to make it possible for you to be able to go to the LifeWise website and sign a community interest list. And so all you're going to do is you're going to put in what city you're in or what address you have, and it's going to bring you to the community list for that area, for that school district. And then if you sign it, again, there's no obligation. It's just, hey, I may be interested in listening to a meeting or coming to a meeting and learning about the program. That's all it is. You can consider and think more deeply about if you want to serve on a program in a teaching capacity, partner with them financially, maybe serve as a board member, maybe serve as a program director. You never know where the Lord may be calling you, but I'm going to just put this up on the screen for a moment. We'll see if you guys can see this right here. Looks like maybe you can. And I'm just going to hold it here for a sec. So you should be able to take a screenshot of that and maybe even scan the QR code. And that's going to take you to the community interest list. This is one of the best ways that we can grow this movement across the state of Montana.
Yep.
And then, if you sign, share it with other people. We've been talking on this podcast about the importance of people sharing this information on your own, because I don't have the relationships that you have. And so if you can share information about LifeWise Academy, if you can share information about this program or this building fundraiser that we're doing, it coming from you is going to have a lot more weight than it coming from me, some random guy with a fancy mustache. And so, we're just the messengers, and we hope that you guys can see the importance of a program like this. So talk to me a little bit about implementation in Helena. And maybe you don't want to give specifics about the schools or churches, but just give me an idea about kind of what you're hoping for in the next year.
Yeah, so we're looking at different phases. We have a 4-phase implementation program as of right now, and we're looking to be in the elementary schools first. With Helena, it's a little bit different from other school districts, like in East Helena, where they have each school has specific grades and stuff like that. So there's a little bit different challenges and obstacles, which is great, because I get to go back to my board members and be like, "Hey, can you figure this out for me?" I honestly have some of the best board members. Evangeline is one of them. And so basically there's 12 elementary schools in Helena itself. And so we're looking at that phase, kind of phase 1, if you will. And then phase 2 would be getting into the middle schools, and then high schools would be phase 3. And well, actually phase 2 would be elementary expansion, because we want to be in 3 schools this fall.
Okay.
That is the goal. And so we have specific school. I don't know if you want me to tell you who they are, but
it's up to you. You decide if you think that it's worth announcing it.
I'll announce it right now, because Jim Darcy will be having the conversations, and we got the ball rolling with Big Sky Fellowship. We have a partnership with them out there. So Jim Darcy will be our first official launch school.
Nice.
We have 3 teachers already hired on, identified. We have some bus drivers that we're working on interviewing and stuff like that. And yeah, the ball is rolling. God is moving.
So tell us a little bit about how it works. Like, what does an actual class look like, from getting, the kids there, released, like all this stuff?
Yeah. So as we mentioned before, it's like we want to help support the core curriculum. Like, we're not there to take away that time. In fact, we're there to support it. So all the core curriculum stays the same. These would be basically what they're called specials, or elective classes, if you will. And they are basically like reading time or library time, study hall time, and or lunch and recess, just depending on the specific schedules. And we're going to work that out with the specific schools themselves when we have those meetings. So each is going to be kind of different, and each are going to have different scheduling, each per grade even. But we take the kids out during those times. We bring them, take a 5-minute bus ride to a host site, or a local church or a business. We teach them there Bible education. We have a core curriculum that's like a 5-year program for the curriculum, and then we bus them back to the school, all within probably like a 30 to 40-minute window. It's kind of what we're looking at.
Yeah. And this is all possible because this is by parent request only. It is privately funded, and it is off campus.
Yes.
The other key component is that it's during school hours. So parents don't need to worry about dropping their kid off before school or picking up their child after school and arranging their work schedules to fit that. It's just right in the day. So that's a huge benefit of the program. But again, parent request only. So this, your child's not going to be involved in this unless you fill out a permission slip and you permit them.
Yeah, I'm glad you touched on that, Pat, because it's that they are the engine behind it. Like,
right.
Without parent support, this is nothing. This doesn't rise up. It's not a movement anymore, because parents are everything behind this. So
yeah,
having that support is huge.
Well, let's talk about a couple of the things that I think are helpful in understanding more about the program. The first is the documentary. And then we can talk about the event.
Yeah.
But the documentary, and remind me, it's called Off School Property.
Yep.
So if you check out Off School Property, you can see our event there. That's our event flyer for Off School Property. We're going to be hosting a screening of this documentary with a short conversation with James, and then our East Helena program director, Robin, about how folks can get involved in the Helena and East Helena community. So if you're in this area, July 30th at 6 p.m. over at Echo Church, that's 2210 Dodge Avenue up in the Fellowship Hall. We're going to be meeting there. We have an amazing person who created these incredible dishes that you sent me a picture of that are like these, what do you even call them? Like
Korean bowls.
Korean bowls.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, they look so good. And that's going to be free. So come get some free food. There's going to be popcorn. This is going to be a great evening. But if you're not in Helena and you still want to check out this documentary, it is on Angel Studios.
Yep.
You can watch it on Angel Studios. If you're having a hard time and you're not able to get a subscription for Angel Studios, please comment in here, and we have an ability to be able to get you a link to be able to watch that documentary for free. Maybe the guys at LifeWise National wouldn't be pumped about me announcing that, but maybe they would be. So
No, I think that's the point of it.
cool. So
It's cool.
if you want to check out this documentary, again, it's on Angel Studios. It was in the theaters for a while. It is professionally done. They interview all kinds of people. Jordan Peterson has a little clip in there. And I'm pretty sure, I'm not 100% sure about this, but I think that the guy who does the Bible Project and does the drawings,
Yeah.
I think he's the guy who narrates it.
Maybe. I think so.
It sounds
Yeah.
just like him, but
Yeah.
in any case, it is incredibly well put together.
Very well.
It addresses the separation of church and state and how, that it's misapplied to our country, but how it has encroached upon taking away religious liberty in our country, and how, LifeWise is able to still bring the gospel into the school in a very legal way, that, has the support of parents across the whole country.
Mhm.
And it's changing lives. One of the things that I always like to tell people is there was this great video of this young girl, and she was having a conversation with her parents, and her cousin had been involved in the program, and
Yeah.
she asked her parents to sign a permission slip, and they're like, "Oh yeah, sure, your cousin's involved in it, whatever, no big deal, I'll sign this." And then like 2 weeks later, she goes back home and she asks her mom and dad when they're sitting down, she says, "How come you never told me that God loves me?"
Mm. Mm.
And it just broke her parents.
Yeah.
They had left the church before she was born for whatever reason. Church hurt, very common.
Hmm.
And they decided at that point that they needed to start following the Lord again. And they started going to church, and they had multiple members of their family
Yeah.
get
It was
baptized.
like 9 of them or something like that.
Yeah.
Extended family, stepdad and stepmom and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, like the most obvious benefits of this program is eternal salvation,
Yeah, amen.
people.
Amen. Yeah.
But also, even if you're not a believer in Christ, which many of our people in the public school district are not, like teachers and stuff like that, many are, but some are not. They see benefits, worldly benefits of the children just having more fulfillment and having more joy and wanting to come to school more and less behavioral issues and stuff. And so, an incredible program. Please check it out. Please go to lifewise.org/interest. And that's going to take you to a community interest list. Their website, lifewise.org, they have videos all over YouTube. Highly recommend you guys check it out. Also, just so you know, this is a preferred partner of the Montana Family Foundation and our national allies as well. And they're doing really incredible work, gospel focused only. So,
Yeah.
man, awesome stuff. And please be sure that you guys are praying for our program directors across the state of Montana who are navigating the challenges to getting these programs going, because it's not easy.
It's not easy, but it's also, yeah, it's a lot of fun too. There's so many different bits and pieces and so many different things that you never would think of coming into the situation. And you're like, oh wow, yeah, we're gonna have to start talking about that one. And then, and God just does it all though. I've been telling people this is like, I feel like I'm just strapped to a rocket ship and just like holding on because he's just taking it all. It's all him. It literally is.
Yeah.
And what an absolute blessing, and just super grateful for you for introducing it. And, it's an opportunity to go be the church.
Yeah.
This isn't doing church anymore. We're going to go take it to the schools. And I think that's like the biggest thing is go spread the gospel.
Yeah.
And go make disciples of every nation, baptize in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And that's what this is, an opportunity to do so.
Yeah. Amen.
So
I find it interesting that, you have the same reaction that I do when someone says you're doing such a good job. You're like, hey, this is not me.
yeah, for sure.
Like Christ makes this possible
All
because
him.
he's using me, and that's all this is.
Yeah.
And I think, many of us see that in our own lives. We have been blessed in so many different ways, and none of that is because of our own accord. It's because Christ has blessed us and chosen us for that particular mission, and we've been, obedient. to that call.
Yeah.
And I think that's, you know, if there's any gratitude, it's just thank you for being obedient to his call in your life.
Yeah. Well,
But even he makes that possible.
it is
So,
for sure.
well, thank you so much for hopping on today. Before you hop off, you know, we're doing a building fundraiser today for this new Montana Center for Christian Policy. We are somewhat hopeful that maybe we will have a lot of Ohio Buckeyes red that's going to be maybe finding a spot on the first floor at the new Montana Center for Christian Policy. Because again, this is just a phenomenal program, and it'd be great to have a space where we could collaborate and strategize and work together, and maybe even be able to host some classes in the building.
I mean, I wouldn't have to be in any coffee shops.
Yeah.
I could actually hang out in an office. Wow.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. But to our listeners, like, again, this is the type of collaboration that we're seeking at this Montana Center for Christian Policy. You know, James has an entire network of individuals at LifeWise who are supporting his work, but they are not working on the ground in Montana necessarily. They don't understand necessarily all the different challenges. And so for him to be able to have a full building filled with nonprofits, lawyers, attorneys, you know, our foundation up there to be able to, you know, maybe brainstorm ideas or see if people have connections that can assist them with their efforts across the community in Helena and East Helena. That's the type of stuff that's going to really just bring everything up to the next level. And I've been telling people this across our podcast. We need to bring everything up to the next level because our opposition, they are not resting. They are bringing everything up to the next level. So I love the illustration of drops in the bucket. You know, this simplifies, you know, everything, of course, but you have two buckets, and one is you're trying to add, you know, something in there to increase the value of a culture that supports life and wants, you know, human liberty and freedom and religious liberty and the freedom that Christ ultimately can only bring. And then you have a bucket that's filled with people that are trying to advance this oppression and tyranny, and human beings are masters of themselves, and we're going to forge our own paths, and it's just depression and nihilism and so much in that. And different people are putting different contributions into those buckets. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's a financial contribution. It could be a time contribution. It could be an obedience contribution. Like, you know, if we didn't have James, who was obedient to his call to go serve in the program director in LifeWise, we missed something out in that bucket. And so we just got to keep adding as much as we can into that bucket, because this is a battle behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And
For sure.
we absolutely have to just be obedient and pray about it is what I would ask you to. Any last things that you would like to share with our listeners?
Be strong and courageous. Our God will fight for us. I think that's been on my mind a lot, been on my heart a lot. God has it. Like he's already got this. It's just our like you said, the willingness to be obedient and to just forge new paths. And so this is obviously a pioneering effort, especially, you know, in the state of Montana and all that. But we're just so grateful for the support that Montana Family Foundation has given us. And thank you for your support, Evangeline behind the scenes. And yeah, super grateful for everyone involved. It's a whole big community-wide effort. Like, it's not just the churches. It's not just LifeWise. It's literally going to take the entire community to come around and support this. So super grateful for you.
All right. God bless you, brother. Thanks for
bless you.
hopping on today.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a short break, and then we're going to come back here, and we got another guest joining us in about 10 minutes, but I got another message I'd like to share with you when I get back. All right, welcome back to the Montana Family Matters podcast special edition. We are raising the walls on the new Montana Center for Christian Policy, just a 3-story building. That's it, just 3 stories. It's actually this building, I got to tell you guys, I think I mentioned this yesterday, but the construction required for this building is super intensive because it's kind of narrow, but it's really tall. We got to make sure that we have some parking spaces because we're going to have a lot of guests and visitors and people working there. But the construction required for this, when we went down to the building site, they told us that it's basically having the same requirements as something that's being built right on a fault line. So something that you would see over in California probably. So the bolts and some of the, screws and stuff on this thing, some of them the construction team has not even seen before, and they had to special order them in to be used. And so it's going to be a state-of-the-art building, you guys, because there's going to be state-of-the-art work going on in here, and this is going to be a building that lasts for a long time. So please, today is the day that if you make a donation, it's going to be doubled because we have a generous donor who is able to donate and match every donation yesterday and today. And even when we wrap up today at noon, we are going to be doing everything that we can to continue fundraising this money through the evening. And so even if you're not able to give right now, maybe you want to talk it over with your spouse or, your family to some degree, you need to pray about it. There will still be an opportunity to give after this podcast ends. And so please pray about this. Everything is going to make a difference. Again, right now we are at, let's see what my total was at here, $3,525, seeking to get as close as we can to that 10,000, which once we get there, I mean, everything will be matched as is, but just think, once we get to $10,000, boom, 20,000. It's going to make a big difference. It's going to get us a lot closer. So we're 92% funded on the building. Our efforts are going on all over the place, working to try to grab this money wherever we can to make sure that the construction of this building is completed and it's done on time. That's another key thing. We got to do it on time. We're not going to be ready for this upcoming legislative session, but we absolutely need to be ready prior to the next session so that we can be, have preparation going on in the building. We can have people knowing where their offices are, where their meeting spaces are, so that we can have programming and schedules ready to go. All that stuff needs to be in play. So we're very much hoping that you will choose to partner with us today. And thank you to all those who have already decided to partner with us and donate. We know that it's not easy, and it is a sacrifice, and we're very grateful. And we intend to use every dollar to stretch it as far as we're able to for the work that we're doing at the Montana Family Foundation. As I get ready to introduce our next guest, I want to make sure that I announce our upcoming Montana Life Summit. This is an event that we've been planning for months and months and months now. We encountered some hurdles that made it difficult for us to land at our initial location. But God continues to tell us, hey, this needs to happen. Let's make it work. And so we have a great graphic there that Evangeline put up together. October 2nd and 3rd, we are going to be celebrating a culture of life by featuring keynote speakers, breakout guest speakers who are going to be covering a variety of topics, all pertaining to advancing a culture that values life. And we're very excited to work beside Montana Medical Freedom Alliance and Pro-Life Montana to bring that to Helena, again, October 2nd and 3rd. And we're going to have more information coming out on Friday so that you can register. We are very much looking for sponsors for that program because we're not charging very much, and it does cost money to get food and stuff to people. But we are trying to get a little bit of money so that we can at least break even. But we hope that you will consider attending this event. It's going to be an annual event if the Lord blesses us and decides that it's worthy to continue on the next year. And we're gonna fill up rooms with people that care about life and are standing on the front lines, doing everything that they can to advocate for life families, and a healthy environment even. Montana Medical Freedom Alliance, they have a lot of interest in making sure that people are getting quality food and water and everything that is actually very important to our health. It impacts our spiritual well-being and everything. And it just seems like we're under attack everywhere across our country and in our state. And so we're going to be bringing in some guest speakers. You're going to have a good understanding about kind of where the battle is and how you can get involved and make a big difference. And we hope that you guys will attend that October 2nd and 3rd. Put that on your calendars. Helena, Montana. That's going to be the place to be. So, after announcing our Montana Life Summit, I'm very excited to have a special guest with us today who is working and has been working with me very closely on organizing this event for a long time. She's been a longtime friend of mine. She has sacrificed so much of her own time and finances to advocate for the causes that we all hold so dear. Very excited to have Sharon Nason, president of Pro-Life Montana, with us today. Hello, Sharon.
Hi, thanks for having me.
You snuck in there very well. I had to hold my mic a little bit because our people don't see this, but our, I suppose our table or our desk right here, it's a little bit flimsy. Again, like, we're very serious about making sure our donor dollars go very far. And so this works, this works for us, but it's a little fragile. So how are you today?
I am good. I'm good. Yeah.
Excellent.
And I'm excited to be here because I really support everything that the Montana Family Foundation does. And this is not an unrealistic goal at all.
Yeah.
You guys are already to 3,500.
Yeah.
So there's somebody out there that could take it right up to the 10,000 mark, but those little donations help just as much. We need every penny.
Absolutely. And I was telling this story yesterday. I've had the opportunity over the past couple of weeks to be making some phone calls because there's some preparation that went into this. But one of the components of preparation was to try to see if we could get some pledges beforehand, so that people knew that this was coming on, and so that when the day dropped, they could say, hey, I'm ready to give and fulfill my donation and my gift at that time. But having conversations with people who have donated a small amount over many years, a lot of them haven't gotten phone calls from us in a while. And so some of them that I was able to visit with, they were just so excited to just talk with someone. And I was like, hey, I use my cell phone for work, but this is my personal cell phone. So like, save my number and call me if you ever need anything or have any questions about what we're doing or anything like that. And people like that.
Yeah.
And, we had some people who, are let's be real. Like, a lot of people are struggling financially right now. We have a lot of people that are living paycheck to paycheck. They're just doing whatever they can to survive. And, that's okay. We understand if you're in that situation. We want to pray for you. If you feel like you need prayer, we want to do that. And that's something that I was doing with people on the phone. If they wanted that, is I would pray with them. And it's not for everybody, but for some people, $5 is something that they could do.
Mm-hmm.
And $5 is going to add up into this pool, and it's going to make a difference. So again, if you're interested, please call 406-628-1141. Debbie is going to be waiting for you on the phone. And I promise you, she's probably smiling behind the phone just because she's getting to talk to some folks who are interested in supporting the foundation. And we hope that you'll choose to partner with us today for this building project. Well, Pro-Life Montana has become a phenomenal organization. And I know that you're like everyone else who comes on here. No one likes to take the credit because it's all Jesus who makes it possible.
Absolutely.
And I know you're no different, but it's still an incredible story. How long have you been with Pro-Life Montana?
Since 2019.
Yeah.
If anybody remembers, that's the year that the movie Unplanned came out, which tells the story of Abby Johnson and how she worked for Planned Parenthood, and then one day saw an ultrasound image of a baby in the womb, and that changed her heart. And there's a line in there that says, if there's a presence outside of an abortion facility, their no-show rate can go from an average of 25% to as high as 75%.
Wow.
And I kept waking up in the middle of the night with that line going through my head.
Yeah.
So I finally decided maybe I should find out what's happening at the Planned Parenthood here in Helena.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. I called people until I got in touch with some people that had been out praying in front of our Planned Parenthood
Mhm.
with 40 Days for Life and other events since 2008. And so initially it was just going to be Sidewalk Advocates for Life. We were going to register with them and train people, which we still do that. We still offer, we're the only organization in Montana that's registered with Sidewalk Advocates for Life and does their training, which is excellent. So we still do that, but now we do other things. We help with 40 Days for Life. We sponsor the March for Life. We're going to be helping, obviously, with the Life Summit that's coming this fall. And I'm really excited about that because we have some amazing speakers coming for that. So
Yeah.
that's how we started.
One thing that I have noticed about Pro-Life Montana, and for our listeners, I have the blessing of being able to serve on the board. But one thing that I've noticed, which you guys were able to accomplish before I came on, was some of the billboards and, just the initial billboards that were put out that kind of reframed the messaging. And I think of the one, I can't remember, it's like on the way to Canyon Ferry, if I believe, off to the right. And it says, you'll know by our first selfie or whatever it is. And there's all these different things. You'll know when we cuddle, or you'll know all these different things. And the idea is like, you'll know you made the right decision when you get to experience the joy of motherhood or fatherhood.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That is an incredibly powerful campaign, and you guys did a great job putting that together and getting the word out on that.
Yeah, we have several billboards up now that have that message. One that's you'll see as you're heading towards our Planned Parenthood.
Yeah.
The whole idea of billboards started when I met Angela Copenhaver at a Sidewalk Advocates for Life conference. It was the year of COVID.
Yeah.
So 2020, they had to have their conference online, so I was able to attend it online. In her session, she mentioned that she had lived in Montana for 4 years, and to her regret had raised funds for Planned Parenthood here in Montana. And then when she had grandkids, her whole focus started to change. And she felt like God was calling her to stand for life instead of oppose it. And she started Human from Day One. And we ran her campaign in Montana for about a year or so, both in Helena and in Billings. And that's where we kind of started seeing, we don't have a lot of funds with Pro-Life Montana. We're a small grassroots organization, all our board are volunteers. But you can get an effective message out with billboards, and it's far less expensive than some other ways of trying to get a message out. So
Yeah.
that's what we're doing right now.
Yeah. How has the kind of field changed in regards to the work that Pro-Life Montana is doing with the implementation of unlimited abortion in Montana's constitution through CI 128? Has it changed much, or is it just, hey, lead us on, Lord? Like, we're not going to step down. Lead us on however you plan to. How is that
Well,
working out?
that definitely is our heart,
Yeah.
to follow however the Lord leads us. But one of the things with our current billboard campaign is last year there was research that came out that really showed that almost 11% of women that have a chemical abortion have some kind of adverse effect after that abortion within the first 45 days. Those figures came from, I think it was almost 900,000 insurance claims, all payer insurance claims that were coded complications of abortion.
Yeah.
We also requested, Pro-Life Montana also requested Medicaid claims in Montana for a year period of time. And we saw that there were 6 hospitals that had patients and had claims coded complications of abortion. We know that oftentimes women are told if you have to go to the emergency room, tell them you're having a miscarriage. So those figures are probably small in comparison to what the real figures are. But nonetheless, we know that women now in Montana are being harmed by abortions, having adverse events afterwards.
Yeah.
And we have now partnered with lawyers, attorneys out of Texas and New Mexico, who are willing to take on cases for women who have been harmed by abortion. So that's our new campaign. We have billboards right now in Billings and Helena that say, have you been harmed by an abortion? Our attorneys will fight for you
Yeah.
and send them to the website abortioninjury.com.
Yeah. Abortioninjury.com is one to check out for those are big black billboards because the goal is to get people's attention on those ones.
Right.
And it is, right? Like there's people that are calling in, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I actually got a message on Facebook last night while I was at church
Yeah.
from a woman that wanted some resources.
Yeah.
So that's the first tangible one contact that I've had.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So-
it's making an impact.
Yeah, excellent. So if you guys are interested in seeing these billboards in your community, please, visit prolifemontana.com. You can send an email to info@prolifemontana.com. You can also comment, here on the podcast, and I'd be happy to put you directly in touch with Sharon or someone else from our board if you are interested, because the reality is to get these billboards up, it costs a little bit of money, but if you want to see them in your community and you want to make sure that people have the opportunity to, find justice from their, wrongful situations in regards to abortion, which to us, the entire thing is a wrongful situation. But the reality is there's a lot of women that go in, they expect that they're going to lose their child through the procedure, but they don't realize that they're going to experience a lot of, pain or, bleeding or whatever it is that comes after the procedure. And some of them don't even expect infertility, which impacts many of them, like even years later.
Absolutely.
And so we want to make sure that they have the ability to be made whole through the law. And so if, you want to see these in your community, check out abortioninjury.com. That's the partnership there that Pro-Life Montana is working with, and they can work with you to see if they can get a billboard up in your area. I want to unpack a little bit of something that you were talking about these Medicaid claims, and they're trying to kind of hide what's happening. So correct me if I'm wrong, but Medicaid is not to be used for abortions. Is that correct? Elective abortions?
Well, technically, yes.
Okay.
They're not, but Planned Parenthood and other abortion facilities have figured out ways to code
Yeah.
for everything else related to an abortion to get Medicaid coverage.
Mhm.
And then obviously complications of an abortion, those are being covered in emergency rooms.
Yeah. And that's not something new. I mean, that's been going on for a long time. I think a lot of us saw that during the COVID years when there was a big effort to code everything that came into the hospitals as COVID related. And so you had somebody who would die from a, car accident, but they had COVID. That was a COVID death. And that was one way that they kind of padded the books and were able to kind of boost up the numbers and make their case to the public that, hey, everyone needs to get vaccinated and everybody needs to stay at home because this is such a big problem and all this stuff. And not saying it wasn't a big issue, but the medical big pharma kind of found out a way to pad their numbers. So not a new tactic by any means. Yeah. Well, as we kind of move forward into the Life Summit, there's been a great opportunity to collaborate and work with one another, and not just our two organizations, but also with Montana Medical Freedom Alliance. They've become a great partner and a great advocate in the state for kind of their own niche issues, but we do have a lot of crossover when it comes to protecting life. What would a building like the Montana Center for Christian Policy mean to Pro-Life Montana as far as your capabilities and your goals?
Oh my gosh, it would make a total difference.
Yeah.
Well, just as an example, with the Life Summit, whenever we have an organizational meeting, we're figuring out what coffee shop should we use as an office
Yeah.
for this meeting.
Yeah.
So most of our meetings have been in coffee shops around town.
Yep.
And if we could have a central location, an office building to meet in, that would make things so much easier. Plus, this building is only will be only 2 blocks away from the Capitol. So during legislative sessions, we have volunteers with Pro-Life Montana that are up there regularly testifying
Yeah.
on legislation. If we had a place where we could meet and coordinate and try to do it confidentially without trying to find a corner in the hallway of the Capitol or on the sidewalks outside or whatever, just to have a place where we could coordinate efforts, find out what other pro-life or like-minded organizations, what their legislation is that we could help and support. It'd make all the difference in the world in
Yeah.
terms of what we could accomplish.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I feel like the opportunity to collaborate and brainstorm, it's exciting to think about. And then, to be able to have presentations. Very recently, we had Samuel Green come down with Reason for Life, and he has a ministry based out of California, which has changed addresses, but I don't think I'll announce it publicly yet. And he came in and he wanted to do a presentation and collaborate with Pro-Life Montana. And, we've been very blessed to be able to partner with some churches in our community for larger presentations. But, sometimes it's a little bit difficult for the churches to work it because they have their own ministries that are going on.
That's
And
it,
so to be able to have up in the top floor, the walls are going to be able to collapse down. So it's going to turn the entire upstairs, most of it, except for kind of the offices and the corners or on the walls or whatever, into a presentation space, a place where we can set up a whole bunch of chairs. I couldn't tell you exactly what the capacity is. I want to say it's like 70 to 80. So not humongous, but pretty good sized. And a whole area where we can put up a projector, sound system so that people can hear the presentation well. And, that's built in. That's built into this presentation space. And so that's not just going to be Montana Family Foundation that's using that. That's going to be, organizations and allies that we're partnering with on all kinds of things to bring in special guest speakers. And
Absolutely.
one thing I'm looking forward to is releasing a events calendar as we get closer that is just loaded, that has just stuff going on all the time, presentations, educational opportunities, activism opportunities, trainings, all kinds of stuff. Maybe we'll have some kids from LifeWise coming in and doing Bible education. That'd be cool too.
Yeah.
Well, if you guys are interested in seeing this vision become a reality, we need your help to make it work. Please make a phone call to 406-628-1141. This to our Laurel office, and you can just mention Money Bomb and you'll be able to donate. And again, everything that's donated today is going to be matched by a generous donor. You can also go online to montanafamily.org. Nope, is that right? montanafamily.org. I'm drawing a blank on it, Evangeline. And she's a little bit delayed here. montanafamily.org, is that our website? Yes, it is. montanafamily.org. And you're going to be able to see up in the top middle, right there is an opportunity for you to click on building project, and you'll be able to donate right to the building, and that'll be a tax-deductible donation because that'll go to our Montana Family Institute. Well, before you leave here today, there's another big thing that's coming up soon called the Montana Legislative Session. And as I understand it, there's a big event that's going to be taking place in January. And I'm kind of springing this on you, so we may have to discover the date together. But I think it's January 15th,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
January 15th. What's going on up at the state capitol?
We will have our annual Montana State March for Life in the Capitol Rotunda. We've been sponsoring that every year now since 2020. So we will have that again. Last year, our keynote speaker was Kristen Hawkins, and we had 16 organizations that share the same values that Pro-Life Montana has that were tabling there. We also had a number of speakers ahead of time, including our Attorney General and Finley Warden at that point. Now he's a candidate for the legislature.
Yeah, he joined us yesterday from Orlando. He was at the ALEC convention.
Oh, okay. Yeah, now he's a candidate, but he spoke on his efforts to expose what was being encouraged and taught at the teachers' conference
Yep.
that had happened the fall before.
Yep.
So yeah, we really tried to line up interesting speakers, partner with organizations that share similar values, and it's become a really important event.
Yeah. Last year, well, this year, it was incredible. I mean, and I say big words on here a lot, but it was absolutely amazing. I mean, the energy that was in the Capitol Rotunda, I had not witnessed before, and I've attended a lot of events there before for different various causes and reasons. But having Kristen Hawkins there, couldn't be understated. She's a very electric speaker, very exciting to listen to, and she's at the cutting edge of this fight going on, especially at the national level. And you guys just would have been so impressed. If you were there, you know what I'm talking about. But if you weren't able to be there, I'm telling you, the rotunda was filled with people, and there was people up on the second level that were watching. And there was organizations that were allies to some degree or another, just kind of skirting the perimeter. And again, the energy was electric, which is not something that you would have thought after CI 128 was passed in Montana. Because now we have unlimited abortion that is now in our Montana Constitution. And it makes it very difficult for the life movement to continue to find ways to make a difference. Now, the Lord keeps revealing opportunities and ways to do that, as you've outlined some of those today. But you would think that that would have kind of turned down the energy and that people would have felt, kind of depressed and defeated. But that is not how it looked at all. I mean, people, if anything, were on fire because they're just more impassioned than ever to continue moving forward. Is that what you saw?
Oh, absolutely. And I think one of the factors in that was the fact that the previous September, we all witnessed Charlie Kirk being assassinated at
Right.
a university campus in Utah.
Right.
And Kristen Hawkins was on campus at the University of Montana that day.
Yeah.
And that's where she got the news that her friend had been shot and then eventually killed.
Yeah.
And so she spoke a little bit about that. But I think that also alerted people to the spiritual battle that we are really in here right now. You saw bracelets that said, "We are all Charlie Kirk"
Yeah.
now. And I think that was a factor. Of course, it was the speaker, Kristen Hawkins, too, and the other organizations that we had represented there. But people saw firsthand the spiritual battle that we're in for life and for biblical values. And that was, I think, part of the motivating factor.
Yeah, and I think it was so shocking to so many people, especially Kristen at that time, and she made a point to discuss this at the March for Life, that the students on campus were cheering and celebrating.
Yes.
And so many of us, I think, were shocked to see our very neighbors going on social media and cheering what took place and
Absolutely.
being grateful for it and stuff. And there was a whole cancel effort that some people on the right did to, get people fired from their jobs and stuff from celebrating. But it was just so out in the open. And, one thing that I share with people is that a lot of these feelings of, division and, to the point of celebrating the death of your political opponents, it is for many people in our society, and even here in Montana, it's just right under the surface of people's face. And, the Charlie Kirk assassination showed us just how close to the surface that really is. And I think, there's a lot of prayer that needs to take place, but we need to continue to, not be deterred and in our fight, but we need to also love our enemies
Absolutely.
and pray for our opposition. And I saw this quote yesterday. It was, some priest or a saint that had mentioned this, and it was something of the sort that, if you're just wanting justice on your opponents and you're not praying for them, how is your Father going to look at you? Because we were the enemies of Christ, when he died for us. He loved us while we were in directly opposition to him.
Mhm.
And that's how we're called to be. And it's not easy, but we're all challenged to do it. So, well, thank you so much for hopping on today.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's
Absolutely.
an honor to partner with Montana Family Foundation.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll have a different podcast studio. So Evangeline will get a little bit more free reign to decide what this all looks like behind us. And if you have any ideas, for the new podcast studio, please shout out some themes. Even if you watch this after the fact, we're going to look at your comments. Shout out some themes. Let us know. Maybe create an AI rendition of what you think the podcast studio should look like. And we'll bring that to our next meeting, and we'll decide if we like any of those ideas, because we do have ideas on the podcast and we meet regularly to discuss them. So, well, Sharon Nason with Pro-Life Montana, doing amazing work here. If you are interested in supporting their work, please visit prolifemontana.com. That's all spelled out, prolifemontana.com. And you can donate there on the website. You can also reach them at info@prolifemontana.com and let them know, hey, I want to see a billboard in my community, and I got some extra funds to be able to make it a reality, or my church wants to come together. We want to see that take place. Just reach out. Let's make it a reality. Let's make sure that these women get justice that they deserve. Sharon, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
All right. And we are going to be right back. But before I go, again, you can give right now. Doesn't matter the amount, $5, $10, $15, $50, $100, anything that you think that you can do is going to make a big difference. Please call our office in Laurel, 406-628-1141. Also, check us online at montanafamily.org and click on Building Project, and you can donate right there online. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll be back here in a minute or two. Welcome back to the Montana Family Matters podcast, Raise the Walls. We are fundraising money for our new Montana Center for Christian Policy. This is day 2 that we are working to raise this money. We've been working on it for a long time. Many of you know that. You've seen some mailers go out. You've gotten a few emails from us, but this is kind of a new thing that we're trying out, a grassroots money bomb. Every donation that is given yesterday and today through tonight, midnight, that's going to be the opportunity to have your donation matched by a generous donor. So everything is going to be doubled. It's going to make a greater impact. It's going to go a lot further. This building is under construction right now, you guys. It's just a few blocks from the state capitol. So when you come visit, we're going to have a big open house. You're going to be able to come visit, but you can come hang out whenever you want, as long as it's open. And you can just walk a couple blocks, go right up to the state capitol. You can check it out. The Capitol building's usually open throughout the week and even on the weekend to be able to go tour. We have a lot of freedom at our state capitol to be able to go in and just kind of look around. And sometimes you can get a special tour that people will take you on to the floor of the House or floor of the Senate or whatever it is. And that's a lot of fun. During session, a lot more fun because you get to go up into the gallery and you get to watch the debate on some of these bills. Some of them are a little bit boring, maybe not as exciting to watch a debate on renaming a highway, but a lot of fun when we're addressing a lot of the issues that we work on, because you've probably realized this here at the Montana Family Foundation, we don't work on any contentious issues at all, right? No, we only work on contentious issues, it seems. And that's a mystery to some degree, because a lot of it just seems like common sense. But we hope that you guys will come visit us. And just as you're going up to the Capitol, there's this new Montana Heritage Center. This is a museum from the Montana Historical Society, and it's incredible to look at. So the cool thing about the site of this location, or this building, the location site, is that it's right next to this museum, and there's people that are going to be traveling from all across the state to go visit that museum, and we're going to invite them to come into our building and check out the information and meet with us and have conversations. That's a really exciting feature of this building. It's going to be one of the most busy intersections as far as like not a major intersection in Helena. It'll still be a very busy intersection where we're hoping for a lot of traffic, a lot of walk-in visitors, and people to come in and check out the work that we're doing and hopefully partner with us and support us in one way or the other. Well, as we get close to introducing our next guest, I'm going to keep you guys on the hook for that. I'm not going to let you know just yet because we're still waiting for this person to join us remotely today. They will not be right in person with us. But I want to just talk a little bit about kind of this battle that Sharon was discussing. The reality is the opposition that works against a lot of our priority pieces of legislation and work at the local level in school boards or at city councils, county commissioners. I got to see a little bit of a taste of, another effort that is coming by opposition. And I just want to talk briefly about this today. Some of you know the challenges that we have had in the Montana Supreme Court. We have a activist judicial to a large degree that rules not based off of what is necessarily what's constitutional, but if it aligns with their ideology. They act as lawmakers a lot of the time. And so our House of Representatives, our Senate, they will pass legislation, the governor will sign it, and then the court will strike it down on ideological grounds a lot of the time. And that's, part of the work that we do at the foundation is to challenge those decisions sometimes where we're able to in the courts. But we're seeing this at the local level as well. We see that there is a massive effort to try to make sure that local elected officials are elected into office on a nonpartisan basis. Now, I think the talking point out there is a lot of people say, well, hey, we don't want our elected officials to be partisan, right? We want them to rule impartially. We want them to be balanced and have equal footing on how they're making their decisions. But the reality is you don't get rid of someone's personal politics or their opinions or their ideology by just saying you can't run as a partisan person. That is one reason why up at the state legislature, we have advocated for having partisan elections for our judicial races, and not just at the Montana Supreme Court level, at the district level. And if someone doesn't want to identify as a Republican or Democrat, they have the opportunity to identify as an independent. And that is because it is a necessary and key component of voter information that people need to be able to make the decision that is going to suit them best. That's going to elect somebody that best fits, their opinions, their belief system, and the direction that they think our state needs to be headed. But over in Gallatin County right now, there is an effort with the Montana City Commission, I believe it is. They're going to be having a meeting tomorrow. I would highly recommend that if you're interested and you're in that area, you reach out to the Gallatin County Republican Central Committee. Marla Davis is the Central Committee chair there. And they are going to be having a meeting on a recommendation to make the elections in Gallatin County nonpartisan. So again, from a transparency perspective, this does not help voters get more information. It doesn't really solve any problems, actually. To think that you get better governance because that indicator is not on the ballot is just kind of silly, because again, those individuals remain partisan. They are still partisan when they get into office. And as we all know, how you view the proper role of government and how it is supposed to function, not just at the state level, but at the city level, at the school board level, at all ranges, matters, because, government growth is a direct result of individuals who think that government needs to fill a much larger role in society than what it was initially intended to. And that creates encroachments upon all kinds of things: private property, religious liberty, so many things, parental rights. And so there's an opportunity tomorrow. I believe the meeting is at 9 a.m. in Gallatin County. And this is something that we're kind of keeping a close eye on, because we want to make sure that Montana voters have as much information as possible, that they have the ability to make a transparent decision. Nothing is hidden from them. The reality is that the political insiders, the people that do this for a living, they know where these individuals stand. They know their politics. But the average person who is spending all their day working a 9 to 5 and trying to make ends meet, and they're just focused on their kids and getting them to extracurricular activities or spending time with their church, they're not focused on the individual politics of these people. And many of them depend upon that partisan indicator. So this is something to keep an eye on. This is an opportunity that I think the opposition is trying to use to try to hoodwink people a little bit. And a very clear effort to try to, change kind of the makeup of our, not just our state, but our localities. So definitely something to keep an eye out for. As we get ready to welcome in our next guest, as you guys know, we are focused today on raising money for this new building, the Montana Center for Christian Policy. I want to share with you guys a little bit of a longer video here. It's about 6 minutes. This is a video that I shot where you get to see the site, the building site location, and then I'm going to walk straight up to the Capitol. And I promise you guys, it's only like 3 blocks. And I'm not in the best shape of my life, but I'm in decent shape. And I was like out of breath because I was wearing a black suit and it was like 90 degrees that day. So you can see it's kind of funny. I'm out of breath at the end of it. But this is not uphill. This is just a straight walk up to the Capitol, and then it's a little bit uphill up the stairs. But feel free to take a look at this video. You guys get to kind of see the location, it under construction, and then the walk directly up to the Capitol that we'll be taking to the legislature to advocate for issues pertaining to life, religious liberty, school choice, and family and marriage issues. Take a watch.
Hey everybody, this is Patrick Webb with the Montana Family Foundation. I am here in Helena, Montana, very near our building site for the new Montana Center for Christian Policy. Take a look at this. As you can tell, we are well underway with construction, and in a couple days, well, next week, July 22nd and 23rd, we're going to be doing a grassroots money bomb fundraiser that we're calling Raise the Walls in honor of Nehemiah. And this is going to be a very critical 48 hours for us to raise the remaining funds for this Montana Center for Christian Policy. This is a 3-story building. It's going to be 3 stories. If you see behind me, there's a Stockman Bank there. That's pretty big. These are 3-story buildings, if you can see, so that gives you an idea of how big it's going to be. But this whole thing can't be completed without your assistance. And we need your guys' help to cross the finish line. If you are interested in making a pledge today to help us get closer to that 100%, we need your assistance. Please click the link below and pledge. Small dollar donations are going to make a big difference too. We're collecting all of this. Everything's going to be matched by a generous donor, and we expect to get very near our goal. Right now we're at 92%. We're aiming for that elusive 100% funded. So we hope that you guys are able to partner with us. This is going to be just a few blocks from the state capitol, as you're going to see here in a few minutes. I'm walking right up now to a interim committee hearing where I'm going to be potentially giving public comment for the Montana Family Foundation in regards to PFAS chemicals in our water supply. Our specific interest there is abortion chemicals in our water supply. And so we need to make sure that we have quality drinking water, and that whatever's going on, that our legislature has oversight on that. But this is the type of work that we do in the off season. As January comes along, we're going to be up here every day. And our whole team, probably about 3 staff, full-time, will be up here at the state capitol. As you can see, off to my left, we have the Heritage Center. And this is a pretty cool new museum from the Montana Historical Society. This is the same road that we're on, Roberts, as the new Montana Center for Christian Policy. And like I said, this is going to be 3 stories. The top floor is going to be Montana Family Foundation offices. The second floor is going to be aimed for Christian attorneys supporting our work at the Supreme Court and at the state legislature. And the bottom floor is going to be Christian nonprofits supporting our work in our communities across the state of Montana. So we hope that you guys can see the importance of having a building like this for the state of Montana, for the Christian community across the state of Montana. We hope that you guys will be able to partner with us. So again, you can make a pledge today, and then on July 22nd and 23rd, we will send you out some information so that you can actually give and fulfill that gift and complete that. So if you can tell, I am crossing the last road here as we get close here to the state capitol. It's a beautiful day. It's not quite 111 degrees as it was in Billings a few days ago when I was there. You can see there the Capitol's under construction too. But this is how close we're going to be. And listen, this is not just a building for people working up at the Capitol. This is going to be a community center for supporters across the state of Montana for the Montana Family Foundation and our allied organizations. I'm looking forward to having people attend educational classes, Bible studies, special events, presentations with legislators, lawmakers. There's going to be a lot happening in that building. It's going to be the place to be. We have huge space that we can have for events, presentations. And it's just hard to just think about the true magnitude of how big that building's going to be, how important it's going to be. So for us to be able to park there, walk up here, have meetings during session, advocate for the policies that Montana families are looking for to maintain protections for life, religious liberty, advance school choice, and promote family and marriage. This is what we're going to be doing. And then being able to run back, maybe get a print job out of the printer, maybe have a meeting in a more private, secluded location, and then be able to be right back here, just a couple blocks away. And by then, I won't be sweating. I'll be wearing a long overcoat and a hat, because it'll be much different. This will be covered in ice and snow. So please pledge today for the Raise the Walls Grassroots Money Bomb, and partner with us in raising the walls at the Montana Center for Christian Policy. And keep an eye out on our socials on July 22nd and 23rd for some amazing live content, interviews, and special guests. This is Patrick Webb reporting to you live from our state capitol in Helena, Montana. God bless each one of you.
All right, so that was fun to do. It was very hot that day, but I'll tell you, I might still be sweating. It'll just be winter, so it'll be concealed a little bit better. But you guys, the ask now is no longer to pledge; it is to give. Please donate today to the Montana Family Institute to make it possible to get the new Montana Center for Christian Policy built. We thank you for listening and tuning in. We're very excited to have our next guest coming to us remotely. And this individual has been a great advocate for life for many years, as long as I've known her. She is fighting this battle, not just in Montana, but across the entire nation. Very pleased to have Deborah Tilden with Smart Women's Healthcare joining us remotely. How are you today, Deborah?
Hi, Patrick. Great to be with you guys. I'm excited to be here.
All right. Where are you joining us from today?
I really for you watching that video and sweating. Way to go, man.
Oh yeah, thank you. You know all about it, having to climb the hills of all the capitals around the country and in DC to advocate for these issues, right?
Yes. Yep. It's a labor of love, it's just really seeking what God wants in our world. We have a lot of things going on in our world today, and it's really walking the path that He's given us to walk. We all have our different callings in our space to do to restore the culture, restore family, and stand up for the innocent who have no voice, and even the exploitation of women that's going on, and the distortion of the women's healthcare space. It was hijacked many years ago, and we're just trying to turn it around, because abortion is not healthcare.
Amen. Yeah. Deborah, tell us a little bit about your work at Smart Women's Healthcare and some of the things that you've been working on recently.
Okay. Well, SMART stands for Science Matters in Abortion-Related Trauma. And really, my own story of having had an abortion as a young, foolish, engaged couple. We would have been 7 months pregnant at our wedding, and that's not something in my church community that was, I didn't want to shame my parents, obviously shame myself. We bought the lies, but little did we know what that would open us up to, really, in our marriage and our relationship, and each of us as individuals. And as I went through my healing, and then in 2015, 2016 is when we started Smart Women's Healthcare, because really we were so tired of the lies women were told 40 years after I had had my abortion. Women were still being told the same lies. Oh, it's not a baby yet. It's no big deal. It's like hitting a reset button. So as I got to know more and more researchers, doctors, Dr. Angela Lanfranchi is a breast cancer surgeon. She was a professor. So she knew what was happening on the medical side, on the research side, regarding the abortion breast cancer link. And it's really amazing how hard of a pushback that has been. People don't like to acknowledge that. But if people are really willing to address and look at things, step back from the political lines, even just use common sense, critical thinking, and look at how pregnancy and then a subsequent abortion, it literally creates chaos really in your body. The way that your body's on a trajectory to feed that child. 9 months in, the woman's body is going through this incredible, you're a father of 4, you've seen your wife go through it. I've been through it. And so it's really focusing the attention on the research. We also have the preterm premature birth, that it's just in lay terms, I'll just often say, you can't mess with the hardware of a female body and not think that you're going to have consequences.
Right.
And then we have the mental health, anxiety, depression, suicide, all of those things that the worldwide research is clearly out there. We actually are working on finishing up the second edition of the Smart Women's Healthcare Policy Guide. And really the majority of it is model legislation that's been used both statewide and federally. We are working at the federal level right now with getting a Women's Right to Know Act. It may not happen before the midterms. I am believing for it still, but the 119th Congress does not end until 12/31/2026.
Yeah.
So once we win the midterms, then we will finish out and get this across the finish line. And then the other part is heavy on research, and then really the collaboration we've been doing. This is a heavy lift. You guys deal with it every single day. Getting people to even pay attention, understand who you're voting for. Who are you putting in those public policy seats? And we all hear, well, I don't get involved in politics. And my response to that is, well, politics and government sure gets involved with you.
Yeah.
You're dealing with that. And I feel like politics is the weeds and ugliness that often happens that keeps people out of the public policy fight. Because that's really what this is at its core. This is about what policies are we as citizens going to have to live under. And I'm truly excited that you guys have your building right there next to the Capitol. That's like, yes, we got to get that fully funded, everybody.
Yeah.
Because what you guys are doing is just really, for me, somebody working in this space, it's an answer to prayer. You have a lot of organizations that often work in the legislature, but to have you guys right there is such a key. It's almost like I see a key that just unlocks the door of what has been, because you really got to be there right in the middle of it all.
Yeah. Well, and it's cool because it's a package deal, right? It's not just the Montana Family Foundation. It's potentially organizations like Pro-Life Montana, resources from lawyers and attorneys who are engaging in the space. And so to be able to invite someone like yourself to make the drive over for a key piece of legislation that's going on, and being able to have a workspace to come in and collaborate and brainstorm and line out testimony and get volunteers situated and organized, like it's going to be an incredible blessing.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So we just, and I'm such a believer in collaboration. One thing that this last year has been very telling as I have lobbied federally is there is such a lack of unity. There's a lot of siloing in the pro-life community that they've acknowledged. There's a lot of different, we need to be collaborating. We need to be partnering and working together on, some people don't like to hear the word incrementalization, incrementing. But even when you look at William Wilberforce, when he ended slavery, he started incrementally bringing better treatment to the slaves.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of ways to chisel away at this big elephant in the middle of the room in our society.
Yeah.
But we need to be working together and finding low-hanging fruit that we can get the majority of. And that's why we believe the women's right to know. When I've met with different organizations, Heritage Foundation, different legislators, they really do believe it's low-hanging fruit. So the leaders I'm working, they're pulling together a lot of the financial data, Medicaid, Medicare, TRICARE money that's going to fund abortion. There's just a lot of things going on behind the scenes that I think people would be encouraged by.
Yeah.
And I know that, the Reconciliation 3.0, we're wanting to see that. I wish we did have the defunding. We defunded, though, for the first time last year,
Right.
ever. We can do that again.
Yeah.
And we need to build the momentum to make it permanent.
Yeah.
No taxpayer should be paying for abortion.
Amen. Yeah. And a lot of people, don't know, but behind the scenes, there's a lot of strategy and planning that's going on, and not all of it can be discussed on a live podcast. But I think
Right.
people would be encouraged if they knew, and hopefully they, get from this is that, just because CI 128 and unlimited abortion is in Montana's constitution, that doesn't mean we've given up. It means
no.
that we have a lot more, I don't want to say tricky necessarily, but more strategic avenues that we are exploring with partners all across this space. And I like what you said, incrementalism isn't a popular word, but the reality is every life saved is worth it. A single life saved is worth it. And we have to remember that opposition is doing everything that they can to divide us. And
Absolutely.
we see that in all the issues that we work on, and it absolutely pertains to the life space of protecting the unborn and elderly. Even is that anything that they can do to create a wedge and say, hey, they don't support this, so you shouldn't even work with them. That is to the benefit of our opposition. We have to continue to be united and find ways to work together to accomplish good.
Well, and I find it interesting, the talking points that a lot of people that are pushing abortion, and Idaho's fighting it now to keep it off of their out of their constitution this year, is the talking point that is used oftentimes when these ads are created. Well, we need abortion to save the life of the mother, her health. Every single OBGYN, maternal fetal specialist I've ever talked to, and I've talked to a lot of them, they say there is never the need for abortion to save the life of the mother.
It's delivery.
However, there are times, which is very sad, that they would have to induce labor sooner than that child is ready to be born.
Yeah.
But that child is very different. That child be born into the loving arms of its family and its parents and caregivers versus being dismembered, starved, just all of the things that are done in the different forms of abortion.
Yeah.
Very, very different space. And the darkness from the abortion side and just the death and destruction that comes out of that is not what we need or want, really,
Yeah.
if people really start picking apart this. So it's really sometimes challenging these talking points that are being used by the left about this whole, and I've even heard it here from conservative pro-life people here in Montana when we were battling CI 128.
Yep.
And I was quite shocked by it. I said, let's pick this apart a little bit. Take away the talking points that you're hearing, and really think this through of what. And there's also, they say there's two experts people listen to, doctors and people with the lived experience. So that's why a lot more women are coming forward and saying enough is enough. These lies have got to stop.
Yeah.
We are not helping women by throwing abortion pills, by throwing free and easy abortions. We are not. we are not promoting human flourishing in our society
Mhm.
with those kind of practices, healthcare practices. That's what's so shocking.
Yeah. Well, we just had Sharon Nason on with Pro Life Montana, who I know you know very well,
Mhm.
and she was discussing some of the efforts with the billboards around the state
Yes.
to try to make sure that women know that, hey, there's an opportunity to potentially be represented to get justice for,
Mhm.
not being fully informed about, the
Yep.
procedure and what it was going to cause. Because
Yep.
a lot of women, they're finding, well, this has been going on for a long time, but now there's
Yeah.
organized efforts to make sure that they have a voice and that they can be seen by the justice system and be made whole to the degree that it's able to in
Yep.
their lives. But as I understand it, we're starting to see women contact and reach out and say, hey, I have been wronged. I was
Yes.
lied to. I went in and I had this procedure and I had all these awful complications that I was not told were going to take place. Is
Yep.
that something that that you're seeing as well?
Yes, the women are coming forward, and they can do it anonymously. They can put their name, and it's actually a legal declaration that can be used. Some women are wanting to go so far past just signing the declaration and giving their testimony of what happened to them. And the biggest things is the lack of informed consent. These women are not being given any information, or they give it to them as they're walking out the door.
Yeah.
There's nothing spoken before the procedure or any of that. So, and there are some women, there's a case in Missouri that those women, we had 17 in Missouri that they were willing to come forward and give public testimony of their injuries. And I love this movement, the injury, what is it, abortioninjury.com.
Yep.
And that actually puts you in touch with attorneys who, we see commercials all the time on TV. If you've been injured by XYZ,
Yep.
call our attorney's office. This is something I've prayed for decades, that there would be those attorneys who are willing to stand up, because in many cases we're encouraging women, get your medical records from those abortion clinics, because there's a lot of evidence coming out that the records they keep are not medical records. It's really been an interesting journey, an interesting find, as we take a deeper dive into this women's healthcare industry that's been created, false industry. Really, when you look at it, there's a whole lot of violation of federal trade practices. We don't have the Hippocratic Oath operating anymore. A lot of people don't even realize it. I didn't until 2 years ago in some of my deeper dives. The Hippocratic Oath was actually challenged at the Supreme Court level the same year of Roe.
Wow.
Yeah. Does that seem coincidental?
Nope.
It's quite interesting that there's an element within the medical field that is so determined, and a lot of it is steeped in world population control obsession.
Yep.
And there's God's way, there's the world's way. God's way is to bring good human flourishing, families, good marriages, and then the other side is just death and destruction. And I like
saying
being
that
on this side.
absolutely the side of human flourishing.
Yeah.
It was interesting. I was just watching an interview that Elon Musk was having with Bill Maher, I think it was, and they were discussing, how many people are on the planet and resource problems and stuff. And Elon Musk was like, we have a very real population bomb problem across the world. We are not having enough children to sustain our societies. Our civilizations are at risk of collapsing because of it. And Bill Maher said, but we don't have enough resources for everybody. And Elon Musk was like, we absolutely have enough resources for everybody. That is not true.
And he said,
Correct.
well, what about food and water and stuff? And he says, we have enough food, we have enough water. And he said, well, what about like desalinization, for a lot of populations in like the Middle East where they,
Right.
only have access to salt water. And he said, desalinization technology is cheap and it is all over the place. And so that
Right.
lie has been, just pushed for so long that there's
Right.
too many people, there's not enough resources, and it's just flat out not true. Now, yes, is
Mhm.
there scarcity in the world? Of course, there's scarcity in the world. There are people that are struggling, but people struggling today, and hunger is still an issue. I don't want to be, dismissive of it.
Oh,
But a lot
absolutely.
of the problems related to poverty are not typically as commonly connected to lack of food and water in
Right.
our world.
Right. And, supply chain. And we do need to deal with those issues where well, speaking of the water,
Yeah,
way a little bit
share a
about
little bit
the
about that. Yeah,
chemical abortion pills being put into what used to be in an abortion clinic, medical waste. We are now, these women, without any doctor's oversight, they are getting these pills, taking the combination of mifepristone and the misoprostol. I mean, it's so gruesome when you really think about what we are doing, but those forever chemicals being put in our water systems, some parts of the country in the heavier populated areas, they're finding the infertility issue. These are things that are starting to be seen we need more research into it. The infertility issue being part of the aftermath, the consequences of what we are doing. And the fact that these women, it's when you talk to these women who have gone through a chemical abortion procedure, I've worked with some myself. It's horrific what we are putting under the name of women's healthcare. These women are not the same. They are holding their babies, and they were told it was just going to be like a heavy period. Yeah. For me, what drives me so much is the legacy. What is the legacy we are leaving for future generations? What are we doing to our, I often will ask, it's like, where's the Sierra Club in all this? They're always talking about protecting our water and our streams and our lakes and all of that. It's like, why are we not getting any response from some of these environmental organizations? This is a real problem.
Yeah, it's kind of rearing its head in Montana. We had a DEQ report that came out, and they studied 40 different PFAS. These are those forever chemicals for our listeners, components across the state of Montana. And it's hard to kind of discern exactly what the information tells, because one side is kind of, using it to kind of bludgeon the current administration, and then the other side is kind of downplaying it. But the reality is there's these forever chemicals that they're finding in the fish in Fort Peck. And a lot of, people that are typically on our opposition on the life side are raising the alarms. And we went and testified in the EQC committee recently up here at the legislature. And we said, hey, this is concerning. What is also very concerning is that there are progesterone blocking pills and medicines that are being discharged into our water supply that we have a good idea are causing potentially infertility problems in our population. And so if we want to try to prioritize what PFAS are probably the most concerning ones that we need to pay attention to, it's the ones that are probably causing some infertility problems. And right now we have the worst infertility problems that we've ever had.
Yes. And you think there's a link.
Yeah. Well, we hope that the state legislature will, we hope that the state legislature will continue to look at that. And I know that this is an issue going on nationwide. Thank you very much for all the work that you're doing. I know it's a sacrifice, but I know a great blessing too.
Well, I love getting to work with all of you guys, and just, we need collaboration. We need just unity in the body of Christ. The Lord put something on my heart a few weeks ago, and it was, unity in the body of Christ plus collaboration equals kingdom acceleration. And I
Yeah.
believe when we truly seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, the fruit is, the potential is so endless
Yeah.
to see good come out of it, and really see, like we were saying, human flourishing in our society, not just Montana, but in our society as a whole. And we need to leave that for our children and future generations. I'm a new grandma, so it's kind of another level of passion
Congratulations.
for me
Yeah.
that, I want to leave a good, it's a stewardship issue.
Yeah.
How will we steward what we've been given? So it's
Yeah.
great being with you.
Yeah, you as well. Please share your website so that if people want to get in touch with you and the work that you're doing, that they
Okay.
are able to.
Yeah, the easiest is just www.smartwomenshealthcare.com. It's got
All
my
right.
phone number, my email, and a lot of information. It's kind of a constant work in progress because as we come up with new things, we like to add it, and new collaboration partners. We have a section in there. And so
And you're
Yeah,
based in
thanks.
Montana, right? You're
I
traveling all over the
am.
place, but you're blessed to live in Montana, right?
I am in the Bitterroot Valley.
Bitterroot
Love it
Valley.
here.
It
We,
is so beautiful.
I'll say we're Oregon refugees.
Yeah. We have a California refugee on our team, our chief
Okay.
legal, Derek, who you know very well, but
Yep.
we're very welcoming.
Yes. Love working with you
I
guys.
also want to let people know that, we're very excited that you're going to be joining us at the Montana Life Summit on October
Yes.
2nd and 3rd. Maybe we could
Yes.
put the flyer up across there. There we go.
Oh, super.
Montana Life Summit, October 2nd and 3rd, celebrating a culture of life over one that is promoting and pushing death. And we're excited to have Deborah joining us for a breakout session and for a conversation, I think a panel conversation during lunch. And
Yes.
so if you want to learn more from her and all the stuff that's going on across the state, please, make sure that you attend that.
Yes. Love to see you.
All right, Deborah, blessings to you. Thank you so
You too,
much.
sir. Thank
And
you.
I will see you on another day in this fight.
Yes. God bless.
You as well. Goodbye.
Bye.
Wow, that was a great interview. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And hopefully, if you're watching to this later, please share this, even if it's after the time that we've been going live. Some people will still want to watch some of these interviews and see this information, and we hope that you guys are able to send it out to your friends, shoot it off in a messenger or private DM to individuals so that they can see the work that we're doing at the Montana Family Foundation and all these amazing allied organizations that we're blessed to be able to partner with. We're just so excited to be able to hopefully very soon, being like a year, right? Jesus told us that he'd be coming soon, and it's been a little while. So our soon is a little bit sooner than his soon. But about a year from now, we're expecting to be able to get into that beautiful 3-story Montana Center for Christian Policy, just a few blocks from the state capitol. If you are interested in donating to make that a reality, we need your support and your financial partnership in that, and we will be the most excellent stewards of your gift, knowing that it is a great sacrifice for you to be able to give. That phone number that you can call at is 406-628-1141. You can also visit us on montanafamily.org, click building project, and then there'll be a donation link. This is tax deductible, and everything donated through midnight tonight is going to be matched by a generous donor, so you get to double your impact. What a great time to partner with us. This is the time right now. Don't hesitate any longer. If you've been listening and you've been mulling it over, now's the time to pick up the phone and have that conversation and support this amazing work and our allies across the space who will all benefit from this Montana Center of Christian Policy. Well, before I take a brief break and then announce and welcome our next guest, I would very much like to just thank a couple individuals and groups that have donated since the last time we did an update. We have Catherine from Butte, who has donated $50. That's a C, just so you know, Evangeline, because she's going to put it up there. Thank you, Catherine from Butte, for donating, and your donation is going to be doubled.
We are also grateful for partnership from Calvary Chapel in Billings. We do have some churches that partner with our organization. Very blessed that their congregations and their leadership feel that the work that we're doing is important to their ministry efforts. And we plan to be, again, excellent stewards with that. We're going to make every dollar stretch as far as it can go. And so Calvary Chapel in Billings donated $100. Thank you very much for that donation. We're very grateful. And again, if you want to add your name here, now's the time. Pick up the phone, 406-628-1141. And as I back here, we're going to be bringing on our next guest. This person will be live in studio with us, and you guys won't want to miss this one. So make sure you stay tuned in. Welcome back to the Montana Family Matters podcast. This is a special edition Raise the Walls Grassroots Money Bomb fundraising event. Yesterday and today, we've been going live for 3 hours. I would say, not totally live, because I'm very blessed to be able to have a producer behind the scenes who has worked up some amazing videos and graphics that can play so that I can get some more water or greet our guests or whatever it may be. Thank you, Evangeline. She has really done an amazing job with this. Very, very blessed to have her on our team now at the Montana Family Foundation. Makes us all look a little bit better than before. So, but today we are raising money for the new Montana Center for Christian Policy, our 3-story community center in many ways that will be the new home of the Montana Family Foundation, as well as Christian attorneys who are working with us and our allies in this space at the Supreme Court, at the district court level, even up at the legislature. And then, of course, all the amazing nonprofits that are going to fill the first floor that we're going to be collaborating in with on policy reform, as well as opportunities to educate and get out into our communities across the state, not just Helena, across the whole state. So if you are interested in donating, now is the time. Your gift will be matched. You're going to want to call 406-628-1141. That's going to take you to our Laurel office, where Debbie is waiting for you to call her. So please do not disappoint Debbie. She would love to chat with some people today. Very kind person. You'll love to visit with her, and hope that you guys are able to prayerfully consider that. And this will be through midnight tonight. So now is the time to double your impact and help us get that building to completion. We have about 8% of the way to go for that final funding number, and 10,000 is going to get us a lot closer. So please partner with us today in helping make that a reality. Well, as you know, here on the Montana Family Matters podcast, we are very interested in doing everything that we can to show the perspective of, this space that we work in pertaining to life, religious liberty, school choice, family and marriage, from up and down the spectrum, individuals all over this space. And one group that is continually underrepresented in being able to share their opinions on these ideas are, younger individuals. And they are, in many ways, as we've discussed, just almost like kind of being pushed out of society. They can't afford homes. They are inheriting an awful, very difficult economy where it's difficult to, find a good paying job, and just so many other challenges that they're facing. And so we're very excited to have Katie Fruits from running for House District 80 joining us. And she is a local Helena area, right, Katie?
Yep,
All
I'm
right.
here in Helena.
Well, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. The first time that I met you was at a Turning Point rally, and you were like, there's some kind of crazy guy that's yelling at people about LifeWise Academy and trying to get people to sign up for this Montana Family Foundation. But that was the first time we met.
Yep.
And I think that your mom and dad were there too.
Yeah, my whole family was there, and
Yeah.
my sister Reagan as well. And at that point, I was in a weird place because I was already decided that I was going to run, but I couldn't be public about it.
Yeah.
Because I was also working at the governor's office at the time.
Right.
So we kind of had to keep things under wraps then.
Yeah. That rally was crazy because if you've ever been, listeners, if you've ever been to like a Trump rally or a Turning Point rally, they're very similar. They were at that time at least. And it was like just very packed, a ton of people. It seems like they got the lines kind of to keep going. But I remember there was this one time because Evangeline was working with me there at the time, and we were trying to get signups and share information with people. And one of the lines kind of crisscrossed and did a loop around. And so I just kind of stood in the middle of this loop, and I talked to I don't know, there's probably 200 people that were in the immediate vicinity. And I was just talking to everybody. My friend Ryan was able to send me a picture of me, giving this big speech, but I had people applause for me afterwards. Wow. But those are fun. They're great opportunities to talk to a lot of Montanans, typically, all at once, who are, for the most part, very aligned on the issues that we engage in.
Well, and since then, I've gotten the opportunity to attend several different Turning Point events. Most recently, my sister and I went to their Women's Leadership Summit down in Texas, and that was incredible.
Mm.
Just seeing how many young people are so passionate about wanting to see their communities improve is really inspiring. And I think it's something that you don't always see because I think a lot of young people are scared to speak up.
Yeah.
There's this peer pressure that says you can't talk about faith, politics, those are just topics off the table. And then especially since Charlie Kirk's murder, I think we see that to an even greater extent because now the threats against us are even more severe.
Yeah.
I know I mentioned my sister, she's also a local Turning Point chapter president.
Mhm.
And so she gets a lot of threats and
Really?
stuff as well.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to be bold is
Yeah.
really what it comes down to. But when you're able to get people in a space where they know the people around them are not going to start accusing them of being, racist, fascist, all the things, and you start to actually hear what their genuine concerns are and what their genuine passions are, it just blows your mind. And I think there's a lot of young conservatives out there who are on fire like that,
Yeah.
but just don't necessarily have the direction to know how to turn that fire that they feel into beneficial action. And so that's part of why I'm running is at the very least, I'm trying to lead by example
Yeah.
in the way that young people can make a difference in their communities.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people resort back to just, starting fights on social media.
Yeah.
And that's not helpful in the slightest.
Yeah. Easy to yell at somebody online, but a lot harder to have a conversation with someone face to face.
Exactly. And that's why doing things like this podcast are so incredible.
Yeah.
Because we sit down and we talk face to face about the things that matter and the things that affect our communities.
Yeah.
I honestly think if we could just get people talking more,
Yeah.
we would be in a much better place overall.
Yeah.
And that's how I run my whole campaign. I was just talking before we turn the cameras back on. The past 2 days, we've been at the Last Chance Stampede, and I have been recording live podcasts there with just people at the fair, hearing their concerns. We've talked to some of the other local business owners that have booths there, and I'm like, tell me about your business. Now tell me, as somebody who hopes to be a representative in the state legislature, what can I best do to serve you and to help you in what you're doing?
Yeah.
And those kind of conversations are invaluable.
Yeah. Probably a lot of just get government out of the way. Probably.
I do hear a lot of that.
Yeah.
The other thing that I run into is people don't understand the impact that policy does have on their daily lives.
Yeah.
I like how Allie Beth Stuckey says it. She says, politics matter because policy matter because people matter.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people lose sight of that very easily. And it's easy to, when you think about politics, just picture, Donald Trump up in the White House. And again, that gets a lot of people frustrated and they kind of lose touch with the fact that the decisions that are made in our government, especially on the local level, actually have a direct effect in your life, your family, your business, your career. And so just talking to people to show that their representation is here, that there are people who genuinely want to come and serve others. I think that's going to give people a lot of hope, which is something they really need right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And it seems that especially amongst young people, at least these are the talking points that we hear up top. Maybe this isn't true. I'd love your perspective on this. That there is a lot of hopelessness. There's a lot of young people who feel like I don't have stake in society because it's impossible for me to be able to create my own space. We had a guest on, we talked about this briefly yesterday, but we had a guest on David Rand with the American Dream. I'm botching the name of this. I'll have to correct it, but he is running a building housing reform project, and this is a nationwide effort. And he was talking about the American dream and how it's not just this cliche that like used to exist, but that it's actually still a very real thing based off of polling and surveys that they've done.
And that young people, for them, the American dream is just having something of their own,
Yeah.
like having their own space, having their own place, having something that, you know, they can just start their own lives with, and just something basic like that. You know, it's not having a hot tub, it's not like all this fancy stuff.
Right.
It's just, I just want my own space, I want my own thing. And a lot of these young people don't feel like there's a path to them being able to get that. So, you know, a lot of people say that there's a lot of like nihilism, and people that, like young people that just are kind of giving up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you see that
I
amongst your
definitely
generation?
do. I see it in the way that there's a lot of people I talk to who don't think that things could ever get better. And of course, if you're not willing to think that things could be better, nothing's going to actually change. So that's the
Yeah.
first struggle, is you can't allow yourself to think like that. But I do talk to a lot of young people and people my age who, I guess, are in this mentality of they don't really know what to do once they, you know, have graduated high school, are ready to be on their own. You know, I think for a lot of us, the dream is kind of like you said, to have something of your own,
Yeah.
you know, buy a house, get married, have kids, those sort of things. But it does feel out of reach for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I would say, even when I talk to people who are a bit older than me, I remember I was out door knocking a little while back,
Yeah.
and I talked to one lady who is a teacher and was just pouring out her heart about how she can't afford her rent.
Yeah.
You know, she was a single mom, and she just was so hopeless. And so I don't know what the exact answer is to be able to fix something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, there are policy solutions we can look at to address specific problems like the housing market.
Yeah.
But I think part of it too is also just the mentality that we have. I think, and this might be a bit of a hot take, but
Bring it on.
I look at a lot of people my age, and there's still this push that in order to be successful, the thing you do is, you know, you graduate high school, you go to college,
Yeah. Get yourself in debt.
get yourself in debt,
Yeah.
you know? But then I talk to college students, and they don't seem to have the motion forward. They're not building anything. They just
Yeah.
continuing to take classes, and, you know. And so I think one thing that could really be beneficial is to encourage people to build things.
Mm.
You know, I look around, and there are very few people who have an entrepreneurial mindset.
Yeah.
And I remember, even when I was little, back during COVID, I mean, that wasn't that long ago, but we had some family friends of ours who were concerned that their dad, the husband in the family, was going to lose his job, and they just did not know what they would do after that.
Yeah.
And I remember talking with my parents, and they said, well, you know, both of my parents have started businesses before.
Yeah.
If both of my parents were to lose their jobs tomorrow, which wouldn't happen because
Yeah. They work hard.
they work hard, and in my mom's case, she is her own boss.
Yeah.
We would make things work. We would build something. We
Yeah.
would
Not
work
give up.
hard. Yeah. I think the mentality that you have to get a degree and then go have someone hire you, I think maybe we need to encourage people to look into building things of their own.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a program that comes to mind. I can't remember the exact name of it, but the gentleman who invented the Tuttle Twins
Yeah.
series, I forget his name, but
I know who you're talking about,
yeah,
though.
he's based out of Utah. Listeners will know who I'm talking about, or at least you can look up author of Tuttle Twins. They do a lot of great, like, you know, economic lessons, laissez-faire stuff, proper role of government, capitalism, stuff like that. But it's stories for children. They had a whole series, I think, on Angel Studios that they
Yeah,
created.
they've got a book series and a cartoon series.
Yeah, and it's
great.
awesome. Yeah, it teaches kids about inflation and stuff like that. Bitcoin, they have a whole
Yep.
Bitcoin thing. But he created a college program that is based on entrepreneurship, and it's like, you know, a tiny fraction of the cost of going to university. It's like,
Wow.
you know, $6,000 for the whole program or something like that, and it's like a whole
streamlined program for students coming out of high school, potentially even, seniors in high school, to be able to take part in this program where they're taught these kind of entrepreneurship classes. And then it's almost like I guess you'd call it like a business incubator, where they like kind of bring them in with other entrepreneurs and business owners to help give them ideas and how to start their own programs and how to navigate the challenges of
Yeah.
state law and all this stuff. And I was like, it's kind of marketed as an alternative to, university or college education. And I was like, man, I want to get my kids in that when they're old enough. It seems pretty cool.
Yeah, well, and just to be clear where I stand, I do think college can be the right path for a
Mhm.
lot of students.
Sure.
I just think we need to break the mentality that is success, right? I
Yeah.
think success can look like a lot of different things to a lot of different people.
Yeah.
Um, and so I think that's part of it, is just we need to kind of have a mentality shift
Yeah.
of what is possible
Yeah.
and what is success.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. It's just the mentality. I was talking to a friend yesterday on another podcast, and he is a business owner, or was a business owner. And one thing he also brought up is he felt like when he was looking to hire employees, he was competing with the government,
Oh, yeah.
because there's a lot of people out there who would rather be unemployed and sign up for all these welfare programs than they would come and get a job and
Right.
do some work,
Right.
And I think that's part of the struggle too, is
Yeah.
I believe government has overstepped its role
Amen.
in
A lot of things.
a lot of things, but specifically in this context, in some of the welfare programs, to the point where I think there's a lot of people who would really benefit from getting out and working on something, because we were made to work. God put us in the Garden of Eden and said it was for us to work it, right?
There's something fulfilling about it. Like,
There is.
and especially like, obviously when you get older, maybe not so much because your body starts to, cause you more problems. But one of the most fulfilling jobs I had was a dishwasher at a restaurant in Bozeman. And it was like the nastiest, dirtiest, hardest work. But like the kitchen crew, man, they love the dishwashers, because if they don't have dishes, they can't make stuff. And so I
Yeah.
was like the most important person. And I had a great, team that I got to work with. But there was something about being the last person to like, help close up the kitchen. It was like me and one other person usually, and going home, always having to take like the most hardcore shower because I was just covered in food. It was, probably really gross for our
Yeah.
listeners. But if you've been a dishwasher, you know what I'm talking about. And I just felt, good. I felt like I did hard work. I made a difference. And even though I was behind the scenes and none of the customers got to see, I was like, I served people, and I did my best. And that felt good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's not a fulfillment you get by being unemployed, playing video games and living off of SNAP benefits.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And it's the hard truth. It's not what you want to hear, because I think, especially for young people, it can be easy to fall into that, oh, it would be so nice if I could just not have to work.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I don't think that that's healthy.
Yeah. And people just want to be influencers, right? They're like, well, I'm just going to go on YouTube and
Right.
play video games and talk about video games, and that's going to be my job, and I'm going to have millions of followers.
And when you look into it, the number of people who say that that's what they want to do versus the number of people who are actually successful at it, because I won't argue, there are people who have done that and been successful,
Right.
but it's very slim.
Yeah.
I heard something said the other day that's like, people will, how look at the number of people who say, I want to be a pro athlete when I grow up.
Yeah.
Huge number of people.
Yep.
The number of people who actually become a pro athlete, very slim.
Yep.
Yet we spend students spend so much time preparing for that, and it never happens.
Right.
And I was that kid who jumped between different sports all through high school. So I never really had that in my mind, but I knew a lot of kids who did.
Yeah.
And I just think, imagine if we put that sort of effort in training people up to be pro athletes for things that never end up happening in their lives,
Yeah.
as we did teaching kids how to build something of their own, how to build a career successfully, because I don't think our public schools are doing a great job of that right now.
Yeah.
And of course, you can also apply that to faith. You know, again, you look at the percentage of us who will ever become a pro athlete, extremely slim. You look at the percentage of us who will have a successful career, could be a business owner. That's a significantly bigger
Yeah.
section of people. But then when you look at the number of people who are gonna one day stand before their maker, well, that's gonna be all of us. So
Yeah.
the very baseline is we have got to prepare kids to live for the Lord, because eternal importance always is number one.
Yeah. And man, we just can't do it without him, you know? So like the work that you're trying to accomplish, the work that we're trying to accomplish here, you know, we are lost without
Yeah.
his guidance. And if we're not inviting him to be a part of what we're doing and taking his lead on what we're doing, like we're just missing out on so much opportunity. And we're facing an opposition that is organized, and that, you know, evil
Yeah.
is taking a role in sometimes. And so we very much need God on our side. So I got to ask you, I don't know if you've put thought into it, but when you make it through your general this November, have you thought of like what committees you might want to serve on, or kind of where you want your expertise to be?
I would love to get on education committee, but I
Okay.
know that's not gonna happen.
Okay.
Because
Hey, never say never.
I think it would be very slim that would happen. But I do like education because I come at it from a unique perspective. I
Yeah.
was a homeschool graduate,
Mhm.
so I have that behind me. But also, just being a young person myself, I'm a lot closer to, I guess, the perspective of maybe a student
Mhm.
in the education system.
Yeah.
And, you know, we've got a citizen legislature in Montana. So while that might not be the same perspective that a former teacher might provide in a committee, my perspective is still going to be valuable and unique.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I feel like that's a space that my voice can be really
Yeah.
beneficial.
Excellent. Yeah, that sounds great. So one thing that I used to do is I used to knock doors too. Most people who work in the political field, that's kind of
We've
their
all done it at
test.
some point.
Yeah, that's kind of the test. It's kind of like college for politics. It's like, can you do the hard work? If you can, then you can do anything.
Yep.
But I gotta ask you, have you had any like bad experiences, bad stories, dogs chasing you, like anything like
Actually,
that?
this is quite the fun story. My worst experience door knocking, two furries opened the door.
Furries,
Furries.
like
They
people
thought
dressed
they
in
were cats.
costumes. Okay.
Yeah.
Were they dressed in costumes?
Yes.
Okay.
And they were meowing at me as I was like, "Hi, I'm Katie Fruits, running for the state legislature." And then they asked to take a picture with me and touch my hair. And at that point, I was like, "Have a great rest of your day."
Wow.
That's the craziest story. But, you know, there's always going to be people who yell at you, curse at you, get off my porch. There's always those sort of people. But you
Yeah,
develop some thick skin.
yeah, just remember, listeners, if you decide that you want to go door knocking, there's always going to be people dressed as furries that are going to want to take a selfie with you and touch your hair. You know, like we need to make sure that the campaigns and the party and all the nonprofits that are involved in, you know, campaign door knocking politics, that they add that to their
Add that to the
training. Yeah, what do you do when you encounter furries at the door who want to take a picture with you and touch your hair?
Yeah, it's crazy. Now, campaigning it's a whole ordeal. I think it can be
Yeah.
easy for people to look at certain candidates or just look at candidates in general and kind of roll their eyes, be like, oh, they want to be some career politician. We're down in the mud doing the hard work. It's not easy. It's not fun. We're out there when it's, 90 degrees.
98 degrees today in
98
Helena.
degrees, going door to door, talking to people
Yeah.
because those conversations matter.
Yeah.
So it's hard work, but it's good work, and it's what God has me doing right now.
Yeah, and it's like the only way to actually reach people and have a real conversation, because you try to do it online and people are not themselves online. You know, they hide behind the computer and they say things that they otherwise wouldn't say, or you
Yeah,
know,
you're never going to come to a compromise through social media.
yep.
That doesn't work like that.
And getting on the phones, just the rate of return on it is so low.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody picks up. It's like just recording voicemails all day.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much for being willing to run. And, I'm sure that you've probably heard it. You're too young. You can't do it. Don't listen to the haters. A lot of people that are listening to this, even people that will not vote for you, like to see a young person take a stand, and
Yeah.
don't ever listen to them. And we hope to see you up there this coming January, and we'll all be drinking from the fire hydrant during that time. But anything else that you would like to share with our listeners before you?
Yeah, I would just add on to that, being a younger candidate. I talked briefly about, being a citizen legislator, and my perspective is going to be different than some of the other legislators in that arena, but still beneficial. I also think, just to further back up what you said, the Bible says, don't let others look down on you because you're young, but set an example for the believers in faith, speech, purity, the list goes on. So that's what I'm trying to do, is to lead by example, set the example. Because I also think one thing that we see is the mentality towards young people right now can be pretty negative. There's this mentality that all of us in the younger generation, Gen Z, are just, on our phones scrolling through social media nonstop, or that we're irresponsible, or that we have no motivation or drive in life. And so I would argue that while there are those people, that's simply not true. And we need to be intentional about setting a higher standard, because when you set the bar high, people will rise to it. And then the other thing I like to tell people is, one of my favorite quotes is from Ronald Reagan. He said, "Freedom is never more than a generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children through the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and then handed on for them to do the same." And so whether you like it or not, at some point we've got to get to that handing on point.
Yeah.
Because we can't not allow ourselves to take our freedom and the blessings of liberty that we have for granted. We've got to make sure that those freedoms continue on for generations to come.
That's great. Katie, how can people find more information about you and your campaign?
Yeah, you can find me. I'm on Facebook and Instagram. I think on Instagram, my handle is Katie Fruits Montana, and then on Facebook, it's Katie from Montana, and my website is also katiefrommontana.com.
All right. Katie Fruits, running in House District 80, taking a big stand, doing everything that she can to advocate for the things that she believes in, and she's 100% right. We as older generations need to do everything that we can to support younger people who are taking a hard stance and stepping out into the light to make a difference and really get on the front line. So we're very grateful for you and your obedience to your call in your life. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right. Well, as you guys know, our work up at the state legislature is dependent upon our ability to be up there. And so working with people like Katie, when she gets into the state legislature in January, it's going to be a lot easier if we have a building, that we can get to. And while it may not be ready this coming year, the year following, or, the session following, we're very hopeful that we have the opportunity to just walk a couple blocks up, be able to invite legislators like Katie to have conversations with us about issues that are priorities to our supporters across the state of Montana. And so if you would like to see this new Montana Center for Christian Policy completed, we need your partnership today. We are looking for small dollar donations. Anything is going to make a difference, and you can donate by calling 406-628-1141. And we would be most grateful for your financial partnership, and we will always be excellent stewards of every dollar and make sure it's stretched to maximum capacity, because we know that it is a sacrifice. We are going to be coming back here shortly. We're going to take a brief break, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Make sure you give that number a call during this break.
As I prepared the metal box containing a Bible to be placed in the foundation of the Montana Center for Christian Policy, I couldn't help but reminisce about the early days of the Montana Family Foundation, and the fact that the Bible that we chose happened to be the exact Bible that I was using in those early years. As that Bible wore out and I began using a new one, it sat on my bookshelf, somehow waiting to be used again for a noble purpose. I can think of no better way than to place it in the foundation of the new building as a symbol and a reminder that unless the Lord builds the house, the builders labor in vain.
And then in the Seattle area, our youth was so lost there with the transgender craze.
Yeah.
I would be in the Seattle area, like I said, and just so many lost and broken youth that had gone down that path, and that just broke my heart because I just knew that was not going to help their mental state. So things like that were really trying on my soul. And then when COVID happened and I just saw the complete censorship that was happening, the ideology of just that you take this vaccine that I didn't feel like was studied appropriately for a long enough time.
Yeah.
The mandates that came out, those did not seem ethical to me.
Yeah.
So a lot of those things just were pulling on me. And in the meantime, I felt like God was kind of pulling me back to Montana. Hadn't lived here in a really long time. And unfortunately, my husband he was all for that moving here.
Yeah.
But I didn't really know in what sense, what my purpose was going to be here.
Yeah.
And my father, who's Tom Rasmussen, is a founding board member.
We love Tom.
Yep, we love Tom. He was a founding board member of the Montana Family Foundation.
Yep.
And so he was discussing it with Jeff, Laszlo, Derek, a striker, and they just let him know that what was really needed in Montana was to have someone representing healthcare in the conservative faithful fight. And so I did a lot of praying about it, and just felt like that was the answer. That was what I was being called to do.
Yeah.
And it was a big lift because I had always been a nurse. I had never done anything in the nonprofit world. I didn't know what I was doing, didn't know how to get started. But with a lot of help and support from the Montana Family Foundation, we got it going. We got our 501c3, and we had our first session last year, 2025.
Yeah.
And we worked very closely with you guys and made some other really good connections throughout the nation, actually. And I felt like we had a really good first session, and we're getting our feet under us. And we have a great board. We are a membership organization of healthcare professionals. So that's kind of how we got started.
Yeah, and it's interesting because going back to the conversation that you had with your father, but then also with Jeff and Derek, like the reality is that the constituency and the need was there. So when we talk about lobbying, and groups will go up and lobby for special interests, like in a sense, we all kind of have special interests. Like our special interests are parents and like people that value life and religious liberty and school choice and making sure that the institutions of family and marriage are protected. And in Montana, there was not an organization that was out there advocating for the interests of the medical community that was saying, hey, the Hippocratic Oath is kind of being stepped all over the place. Patients' rights are being swept under the rug. And for it to come to the forefront in 2020 during the COVID years, the need was so great. So it was like you just kind of stepped in to fill a need. Before, we had the Montana Medical Association, but they did not really advocate for doctors who didn't want to follow what the establishment protocol always was that was being pushed by Big Pharma.
Mm-hmm.
And so to be able to have an organization that came in and said, no, I'm going to stand for the doctors that that actually want to help their patients very deeply, and they put that number one.
Yeah.
Even if it costs them their practice, those are the people that I'm looking for. And I think that was a great stance that you decided to take.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I think those people don't have a lot of support. The ones that are kind of maybe going against or maybe just questioning what the major organizations or the Montana organizations stand for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one key piece of legislation that we got to partner on was Senate Bill 218 and House Bill 682. These are on our scorecard, and so I talked about this briefly yesterday during the podcast. But this is one of our greatest transparency tools for voters across the state of Montana. Take a look at our Montana scorecard, and you can see how your elected officials in your districts voted on priority issues that we focused on during session. But these bills specifically, they were kind of different variations of the same thing, but they very specifically. I'll just kind of read one of these. House Bill 682 allows individuals to bring a private right of action in lawsuits related to gender transition treatments performed when they were minors. And so the key problem here was that young individuals cannot give informed consent, first of all, because they're underage, they're minors. But oftentimes, like, even their parents were kind of put in these very difficult situations where the doctors were like, if they don't have these procedures or they don't get these treatments, then you're going to end up with a dead daughter instead of an alive son. We hear that often.
Yeah.
And it was such a blessing to be able to have people like Al Palmer out of Missoula who, came in and had experienced that path and then realized what a lie it was, and that it didn't solve for problems, and it created so many more. And so many other organizations from across the country that are advocating for these issues. And we were able to get some stuff passed.
We were.
Yeah.
That was such a good bill. And we collaborated very closely with you all. And that is getting to your center that you're going to build.
Yeah.
Since we did work closely, we were ducking into offices
or stairway wells,
trying to find private places to strategize.
Yeah.
And it was, you do what you have to do.
Yeah.
But your Christian Policy Center will be a great asset when it comes to being in the session and having to giving private spaces for those kind of meetings. So I'm really excited about that. But yeah, getting back to House Bill 682, that was one of the better bills in the nation. For one thing, it has not been overturned by our Supreme Court in Montana,
which is crazy.
Which is huge. That is a huge win.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what it does is it actually allows the patient to file a malpractice suit against the provider that gave them this treatment.
Yeah.
For an extended period of time, because Montana malpractice.
Technical difficulties. All right, welcome back. We're so sorry for those technical difficulties. I was just saying it wouldn't be a full podcast, 3-hour podcast, if we didn't have technical difficulties. We had a little bit earlier yesterday with Representative Seekins Crow, and she was very patient. Very grateful for your patience, Aaron. Thank you so much. We were having a conversation about House Bill 682 in regards to a private right of action for individuals who were given transition treatments as minors, and how great of a success it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I was saying is so many of these minors who go through this, they aren't even aware of the harms that have happened in their bodies until later.
Yeah.
So mid-20, let's say they wanted to, they changed their mind, they wanted to detransition and then wanted to start a family.
Yeah.
They would have no idea that they were infertile
Yeah.
until then. Or, severe osteoporosis is a big adverse effect of that of that treatment. And, they're not going to know that right away. So things like that, or in breastfeeding. So that could be an issue if you have a mastectomy, and then you go on to have a child, want to breastfeed. There's nowhere for that milk to come out. So things like that, it just made that bill so important. And it made, so what it did is it essentially shut down the transgender clinics in Montana that offer that care for minors.
Right.
So that is huge.
Yeah. And they actually shut down. I mean, we saw multiple shut down those services, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
How many was it across the state? Do you remember?
I'm remembering 6 or 7.
Yeah.
And, some of them might still offer that service to adults.
Yeah.
But it was the minors that we were focusing on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
with that bill. So that was a huge success. And that just makes my heart happy that, not that these kids aren't getting, that they need treatment. They definitely need treatment, but there's a lot of other treatments that actually will improve their mental health without destroying their bodies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this coming session, I know is going to be busy as well. You guys probably have a new slate of priorities and probably still kind of figuring out what that's going to look like.
Yeah.
But we're very excited because we have been blessed to be able to partner and collaborate with you for the upcoming Montana Life Summit.
Yes.
And so that's a huge thing that we found a lot of significant synergy on. We were talking about synergy yesterday. Pro-Life Montana, Montana Family Foundation, and Montana Medical Freedom Alliance are coming together to bring this first annual Montana Life Summit. Yeah. Hopefully it will be annual if if it's clear that God wants it to continue on. But we're bringing in all kinds of special guest speakers. The cool thing about partnering with your organization is we get some guest speakers that maybe at the foundation, if we were just running an event, we maybe wouldn't necessarily, reach out to because we don't really focus on that issue particularly. Mm-hmm. But it undoubtedly relates to advancing a culture that values life and human flourishing over one that is an advancing kind of death cult in many ways. Yeah. Do you want to share with us maybe just a couple, like a teaser about one of the speakers or two of the speakers?
Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to. I'm really excited about this Life Summit that we're going to have. And so we have 2 powerhouses coming to speak. One is Dr. Ryan Cole, who anybody who was listening to private journalism during COVID, they probably know that name. He is based in Idaho, I believe in the Boise area, and he was just a principled, intelligent, independent thinker during COVID. He is a physician, he's a pathologist, and he has his own lab in his own private business in Idaho. And he's now a senior fellow with the Independent Medical Alliance, which was prior, that was the independent, let's see, what was it called? FLCCC. And anyway, he is just a highly intelligent, ethical, compassionate physician who just kind of has a way of kind of cutting through, the ideology and just kind of being able to present transparent, clear, scientific backed information. And so, and he is also a regenerative rancher. And so, and he's very knowledgeable with nutrition and just holistic living.
Yeah.
And so he's going to come, he's going to be our keynote speaker on Friday night.
Yeah.
And so anybody who is just trying to live a healthier life, who is trying to eat cleanly, I think will really, and he's funny, like he's just a great guy. And so he's going to be our keynote speaker on Friday. And he is also going to touch a little bit on the mRNA, the COVID vaccines, and just kind of give some information about that maybe not everyone has heard.
Yeah.
And then our next speaker is Leslie Manookian, and she is the founder for Stand for Health Freedom. She is also in Idaho, and she has quite a background. I think she worked like in Wall Street and the finances, worked in London, has created a documentary. So she's just done a lot of things. She's extremely smart. And she has successfully gotten past the medical, let's see, what's it called? Medical Freedom Act, passed in Idaho last session. And that basically bans medical mandates.
Yeah.
So, not saying we need to ban vaccines or procedures. She just really believes that every individual should have the right to be able to decide what they put in their bodies.
Amen.
And I completely agree with that. I don't think we should take away people's rights. I think that we should give them informed consent.
Yeah.
All the risks, benefits, the unknowns, all that, it has to be a discussion about everything that we put in our bodies, and that's what she's for. And so she's going to come and talk about what they did in Idaho, potentially what we could do here in Montana.
Yeah.
We want legislators to come and listen to her, and then she's just very good with ethics, morality, and healthcare. So those are our two speakers, and I'm really excited about both of them coming.
Yeah, October 2nd and 3rd here in Helena, Montana, the Montana Life Summit will be taking place. You can go to that website right now, actually, and register. A little scary for me to say that because we've been working on this
We've been
for
working
like
on it a
months
while.
and months and months. But we're ready to launch it. And I think Friday, we're going to be putting out some more information. But if you're paying attention right now and you're on this live, you can go to that website and you can register early before other people.
And space is limited.
Yes,
We don't
space is
have
limited.
endless seats, so
Yeah,
register early.
we have about 100 spots, and we have some sponsorship opportunities that will get multiple tickets under one sponsorship. So that stuff will go fast. Please make sure that you guys check that out and you register so you can hear from all these great guests, speakers, and more. And it's going to be a rallying cry for people that value life in Montana. And so, Aaron, before we wrap today, because my voice is getting close to cutting out, and I think our phone is our tech is getting close to cutting out. We've stretched it to its limit. How can people find more information about the Montana Medical Freedom Alliance?
We have a website, the Montana Medical Freedom Alliance.org. However, it's undergoing a huge overhaul. So probably later in September, we're going to have a brand new website with lots of resources, ways to join, donate, get involved. Want to encourage people who aren't in healthcare to get involved too, because we are an advocate for patients as well. We're not just an advocate for healthcare professionals, but for patients. We want to restore the trust that the public has lost in medicine. And so we're going to have ways for you to get involved. We're going to have educational events, both for healthcare people and the public. So check back in September to our website. You can check there now too, but it's going to be much better in September.
Yeah.
I think that's, and then also I have a Substack. If you are on Substack, which is a really great, I highly recommend it. It's just substack.com, and you can see journal article, journalists from all walks of life. It's uncensored. Lots of things on healthcare and just life in general on that. But we have, I read a Substack for that, and that's just the same, Montana Medical Freedom Alliance, that you can search.
All right. And when we're talking about advocates, you guys, Erin is a strong advocate, and just like every other speaker that we've had today, she will not want me to boast in her own capability. It's all Jesus that makes it possible for any of us in this line of work. But I'll tell you, straight up at the legislature, when we were, divvying up who was going to have conversations with who. Sometimes Erin had, some of the more difficult, challenging people that she needed to have conversations with to persuade, to advocate and get these bills across the finish line. And she was like ready to go. And she would go straight in and she would get their vote on things. And so she is up there during the session just about every day that you're able to, and making it happen. And so if you are interested in, medical freedom issues, they are an amazing allied organization of the Montana Family Foundation. And she is a tremendous advocate whose heart is, directly aimed at doing everything that she can to make healthcare better in the state of Montana. So you'll be able to hear more from Erin as well as some of her guest speakers at the Montana Life Summit. Please register, check that out. And anything else that you want to share with our listeners before heading out?
I might see some of our legislators at the Live Action Summit, Legislative Summit in Georgia next week.
All right.
Yeah. I know some of them will go there. So
Sounds good.
So I was invited to go to that, learn how to write really good bills, legislative bills,
Yeah.
to help us flourish here in Montana.
Yeah.
So
Amen.
hopefully I will see some there.
Well, if you heard that, you're one of our legislators and you're planning to go there, definitely see if you can find Erin. And otherwise, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
All right, you guys, this is about going to wrap up our last session for this Raise the Walls Grassroots Money Bomb. This is a special 6 hours basically total between yesterday and today podcast in efforts to fundraise money for the Montana Center for Christian Policy. The Montana Medical Freedom Alliance is an organization that we are having conversations with about potentially working with us in that building. And so one way or the other, we're going to be working with them in that building. It's just maybe they'll have an office there full time. So if you like the conversations that we've had yesterday and today, and all of the work that these allied organizations and individuals are doing, the best way that you can support all this work in its totality is by contributing today to the Montana the Montana Center for Christian Policy. There we go. There's the ad. You can call 406-628-1141 and make your donation today. It will be matched, and so you get to double your impact. We want to do everything we can to get as close to that $10,000 range as we can. And even though this podcast will end, you are still welcome to make that phone call. We will probably not have people at the office all day. You're welcome to leave a voicemail, but you can also go online to montanafamily.org, click on Building Project, and you can give there. If you are a little bit old-fashioned and you like to send in a check, there is also a way to send a check, and that can be found on our website at montanafamily.org as well. It is a P.O. box based out of Laurel. And so anything is greatly appreciated. Thank you so much for tuning in. Feel free to comment on this thing even after it's done and wrapped up, and we are going to be paying attention to comments and responding as we're able to. Thank you so much for your support for the work of the Montana Family Foundation. And I have very much enjoyed this time. Shout out to Evangeline for making it all possible. And thank you so much to our speakers and listeners for dealing with the technical difficulties and still tuning in. But we are very blessed to be able to do this work on your behalf. Thank you very much for your support, and God bless each one of you.